throws, end zone. He's got Evans for the touchdown.
The presenting sponsor of Super Bowl 55 coverage from Tampa, Florida on SicEm365 Radio is Marco's Pizza. Pizza for pizza lovers in Woodway, China Spring, and Belmead.
Here's Mahomes. Look at underhanded. He throws it for the touchdown. How about that throw?
Little underhand.
Also brought to you by IdealMRI.com, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Waco Custom Marketplace, Boozer's Jewelers, Stonewood Dental, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac.
Here's the fake toss. Able to get away and find Hill at the 35-30. Hill inside the 20.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Petty Clinic Low T, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, and Impact Health Labs.
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown! Scotty Miller!
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go. We're live in Tampa, Florida. The Tampa Convention Center. Super Bowl 55 is in town this Sunday. Kansas City trying to defend their title, Super Bowl championship, trying to win the back-to-back Super Bowls for the first time since 03 and 04 when a guy named Tom Brady and, well, New England did it, but Tom Brady now with Tampa Bay, David Smoak, Paul Catalina. We're going to come to you at times today from 3 different locations around the country. Tampa, where we're set up on Radio Row, which is a unique situation this year. And then also Craig Smoak at our main studios at 101 Elm, along with Armstrong Sims in Waco, Texas, and some of the guests that we have today, including in just a moment, Scott Drew. And we'll start with that. We have Randy Grimes, we have Mark Schlereth, we have Randy White, we have Matt Saman, so much more, Leonard Marshall, CJ Lanehart, but Paul Catalina, they took care of their business in Austin. They did it again.
Holy cow, did they do it again? I was watching on the plane, which is, I don't know why anybody complains about technology. I had a fit today, and then I remembered I was watching a basketball game on an airplane last night, and after we got off the plane, it was halftime. It was just after halftime. I said, man, the first half was great until the end. I said, but Texas has come out with a fury. By the time we got from the gate to baggage claim, Davion Mitchell had gotten PO'd about being behind, and it was all of a sudden a 10 or 11 point game just like that, because that's what this Baylor team does.
They take you, they grab you, and they don't let go. Craig Smoak, of course, you had a chance to watch the whole thing. As always, they just seem when they want to, they put the clamps down, and it's basically game over.
Yeah, Texas early on was really giving them some problems with their bigs, and I was kind of getting a little bit worried that was going to be a matchup that potentially made things dicey, but as they always do, they just get in there at halftime. They had the big shot there at the end of halftime to kind of spark themselves a little bit going into the locker room, and they went in there, they had their talk, they made their adjustments, and that second half was pretty much all Baylor. I mean, they matched the gas. Again, they do that, and they're just so incredibly fun to watch. I mean, the amount of players who are better this year than they were last year, the way this team plays together. I think it was Fran Fraschilla who had a really good little clip of one of the plays that he called his rotation of the year, something like that showed just all of the passes that were required and made to get the right shot for, I think it was Davion Mitchell. But yeah, I mean, it's a team. It's not about one guy or two guys. It's the entire lineup, and last night it was just a really impressive showing.
He called it, I think what he called it was the possession of the year, the boomerang pass, and how Texas sent their bigs at the Baylor guards and how their ball movement, rotation, and all that eventually still set up. You're right, Craig, and Fran Fraschilla spotlighted that. Dickie V was all over it as well, among others. And we'll have Scott Drew, Baylor men's head coach, here in just a minute. By the way, after the game was over, I'm not sure if you saw this or not, some of you may have, Matt Saman, who was a part of that early on, when Baylor was trying to dig themselves out of rubble. He will join us at 5:30 because Scott Drew sent him a text after the game and even remembered those who were a part of what it was when he arrived on campus. And now Scott Drew joins us 17-0, number 2 in the country, winning in Austin by 14. Coach, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Are there times, as good as your team has been, where sometimes they even amaze you?
That's a tough question because I think awful highly of our players, and I see them practice every day. So I see a lot of amazing things in practice. But what you do love is when everyone else gets a chance to see what we already know, and that is we got a lot of talented players, but they're great people. They play for each other. They play with joy. They represent Baylor the right way, and I'm excited when they have success because they work awful hard for it.
Well, I know that you're not surprised because you've seen this team all the time, like you just said, but sometimes as a coach or, as a team, you want to see what happens to a team when something happens. And you blew a big lead last night and then completely turned it around before anybody else could say jackrabbit. Was that kind of that put your mind, any kind of concerns you had about that certain situation coming at you?
No, I think, that's sports nowadays, especially basketball. I mean, you look in the NBA, college, high school leagues change so quick. Momentum changes so quick. What you want is the maturity and discipline when things aren't going well to be able to stay with who you are and what you're about. And when they made their run, I thought our guys really did a great job of getting high percentage shots. And then we were able to get easier shots because we started getting stops on the defensive end. And teams that aren't as mature start to panic and then stop playing defense, start taking bad shots, and then a 2, 4 point, 6 point, whatever deficit ends up becoming a 10 or 12. And that's one thing great about having a veteran, mature team with good leadership. They've been through a lot in their careers, and they don't get rattled easy. And at the same time, when the best is required from them, they've responded with their best.
Scott, I could insert player here, but what have you made and what have you thought of the process and the evolution and just the gains in his game that Davion Mitchell has made?
Well, I mean, Davion's someone that from the first day he got here, to see just the amount of work he's put in and the consistency in which he's put it in. And a lot of times you'll see players work really hard for a short period of time and then they either have success and they forget what made them successful and stop working, or they don't have initial success and they don't continue with the grind. And Davion's one of those guys since the day he's gotten here. He's put in the work and he's remained consistent. And because he's been diligent and consistent, he's continued to get better. And I thought last year he'd really improved his shot, but I thought the mental part, he's really gone to another level this year from the standpoint. Last year, if he might have missed a shot or two, it might have gotten in his head. And this year, I mean, he has that shooter's mentality now where if he misses a couple, he knows the next one's going in, and the team knows the next one's going in. So it's great to see his hard work pay off.
Scott, your team has won numerous big games, and not just the last year, not just this team, but over the years with you. What is their mentality now when they win a game in Austin? It seems like it's okay, that's what we're supposed to do, but do they enjoy? Are they you see that joy, that word joy a lot, the culture of joy. Yeah. Are they enjoying the journey?
Well, sometimes we put such a high bar on ourselves that you might forget that you're supposed to enjoy winning and that bonding that comes with it. So as a coaching staff, we try to be conscious to enjoy it, and I think our players do a great job of consciously making sure we enjoy every opportunity we have to play. Because you remember last year, the season ended quickly, and this year games come and they go, and whenever we have a chance to play, compete, we want to enjoy and cherish those moments. And yes, definitely excited after a win, but not to where it affects the preparation for the next game. And I think that's the key. Sometimes you get a win and it leads to a loss in the next game, or you get a loss and it carries on to 2 or 3 losses. And short-term memories are something you got to have in the Big 12 because each game is a challenge and each game counts the same. So it doesn't matter if it's in Austin or if it's home against whoever. They're all one game.
Have you ever been a part of a team with the depth that you have where you have legitimately 8 starters? It's not even fair to call your bench guys. It's only technically because they weren't on the court when the ball got tipped.
Yeah, we've had a lot of deep teams in the past, but I don't know if we've been this deep. And it's truly a blessing when you go to the bench, and you never know who off the bench can give you 15 or 20 points and who's hot. And the one thing that is great with the guys we have coming off the bench, they have experience. So a lot of times when you have guys that come in that don't have college experience, you get a little more up and down play on them. I think with the guys that we have coming in, they're more consistent, meaning they might not get 20, but they play well and they help our team win. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
Scott, is there anything that this team does at this point that surprises you?
Well, I think as a coach, you're always wired and geared to what else can you do to improve? How can you get better? I mean, right now we have the third best offense in the country, third best defense, and we want the first in both. So how can we improve to do that? And after each game, there's different areas you want to improve on for the next game, and then sometimes areas that were good one game aren't good the next game. So it's a constant thing, the same old boring habits. We try to get better in every facet and improve in areas we need to improve it.
Matt Saman, that he talks to his players all the time about trying to build something special, remain. And he said last night, he told me it on the phone today, he's going to join us at 5:30, that he got a text from you after the win against Texas. What made you reach out to him and tell him thank you after such a big win like that?
Well, I think just thinking of all the past players, the first few years when we went down to Austin, it wasn't pretty, but they laid the foundation to where we have the success nowadays. And just seeing a couple of the tweets being compared to the UNLV team of the dominance as far as most wins with 8 or more points up to this point. Indiana, the last undefeated team. And again, none of that matters because the next game is all that matters. The next day is all that matters. And that's how you one step at a time get up the mountain. But still, a lot of success this team has had is made possible from the past players. And unfortunately with COVID, we weren't able this past summer to get the guys back that normally come back and pass on wisdom and knowledge to the young guys and help form those relationships and help the bonding. But again, can't thank the previous players. And they're so proud of what Baylor basketball is doing right now. And I mean, a lot of the guys that are in the NBA, there's a lot of bragging rights going on right now. In fact, Jake Lindsey was in town, and he says they got a nice group thread with Nyang from Iowa State, Dope with Kansas, and him, and so a lot of proud alumni as well.
Yeah, I saw.
Do you ever look? Oh, go ahead, Craig.
No, I saw where just Taurean Prince was joking with Jared Allen last night after the game too. So that was one of those former players that I caught having a little bit of fun.
And that's one of the best things is when you hear that, and a lot of them have these side bets where they're going out to dinner or whatever. Coach, you got me 2 dinners or whatever. That's great. We want to make Baylor Nation proud, and definitely the past players that put so much into this. We want to make them proud as well.
Scott, do you ever look back and think personally how far you've just come as a coach in the time that you've been at Baylor?
I think you're so driven and focused, looking forward and getting better for the next day. I do know I've learned so much from the previous coaches that have been here that have helped pour in to the team, and they've made me a much better coach. And our current staff, iron sharpens iron. You hire great people because you learn from them, and I think all of that goes into the success we're having, and most of all, establishing and guarding and keeping the culture we have. And it's a player-led program. We have upperclassmen that have been through the wars, and they know what's required, and they do a great job setting the tone and doing a good job making sure that we're progressing as a program, and the pride that they have in the program. And I mean, earlier this year with Mark passing, A.J. Walton is the winningest Big 12, most Big 12 wins as a player. To see the excitement and pride he took in that, and rightfully so, and just how everybody on the team was happy for him as well. I mean, that's what you love to see.
Scott, last thing. You have a 3-game lead in the loss column at the top of the Big 12 standings, but we also know that it's the next game in the Big 12 that could get you. is this team, it seems like they're so mature, so experienced, so confident, and yet they're also so humble. That 3-game lead is great news. At the same time, sometimes people can get a little bit complacent. Do you see that at all with this team?
Well, I mean, everybody's human, so you got to guard against those sins, and pride cometh before the fall. So hopefully we can stay humble and hungry. And again, we could play well and get beat because someone plays better. So we got to control what we can control and make sure we're prepared for each and every game. And that's why the Big 12 is such a grind, and why it's so hard to be successful. And when I mean successful, I don't know when the last team to go undefeated in conference was, but I know it's been quite some time. And then you look at last year, we were 13-0, and we didn't win conference. So, and especially with COVID, things change quick because you're playing more games in a short period of time. So, again, every day it's a race to get better for the finish line, and hopefully that finish line for us is in Indianapolis.
Thank you very much for your time. Congratulations. Good luck Saturday against TCU. We'll see you soon.
Hey, I just want to know how you guys are doing down in Tampa. You wearing sunscreen? You're not getting sunburned down there, are you?
We're at a convention center, Scott, so we haven't seen the sun except for a couple minutes today. So
I did.
All right, so who do we got winning?
I'm an idiot. I cannot pick against Tom Brady. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm going the Chiefs, Coach.
Well, I wouldn't call yourself an idiot for that. There's a lot of times you've been right picking with Tom Brady over the years. But I tell you what, it's going to be a great game, and I know you guys are loving it being down there in coverage.
Thank you very much, Coach. That's Scott Drew.
Hey, tell Matt Saman I said hello. Thank you.
I will. Thank you. Matt Saman will join us at 5:30. King McClure, by the way, will join us on Zoom at 5, and Saman on Zoom at 5:30. Randy White, Hall of Fame defensive tackle, Mark Schlereth coming up in the rest of this hour.
So I've said this before, and I think that Baylor should do it. And I mean, if they want to cut me in for some of the part of this, and they can give some of it to students and charity, but there should be an app, which is just the Scott Drew Get Happy app. Because it's impossible. You just pull up your phone in the morning if you're a little down, and you just pull up a little, new message from Coach Drew each day.
Every day. He can make a lot of money off of that. Coming up, Randy White, Hall of Fame defensive tackle, and then Mark Schlereth will join us as well. We're going to go straight to Randy?
We're going to go straight to Randy.
All right, we'll have Mark Schlereth, former Broncos and Redskins. He won 3 Super Bowls as a player. He'll join us a little bit later in the hour as well. Randy Grimes, former Baylor star and the All-Southwest Conference lineman with Tampa Bay. He's been through a lot in his life. He's been with us almost every year on Radio Row.
You may want to text Randy. It's going right to voicemail.
Okay, I'll do that. All right. All right.
But yeah, Craig, you would not. I'm sure you can see it on the screen. And hello.
Hey.
But it is very different here this year. There is look. This is quite honestly probably the safest place to be in Tampa when it comes to security and social distancing, because we're the closest person to me is Smokey, and the next closest people are 35 to 40 feet away.
Well, it makes me feel a little bit better because, I was unsure how that was all going to look, but clearly I think I forget who it was yesterday may have said it to us, but they said, Florida's maybe a little bit of a hot spot or different parts around the country, but one thing's for sure this week, Tampa will be one of the safest places, because of just all the protocols and precautions with the game in town. And obviously they're being careful with the teams coming in later and all that. But, yeah, I mean, getting a good look at the screen, the only other tables I see are far in the distance, but what's it just kind of like generally atmosphere-wise? I mean, it's nothing. I mean, I can see from the screen it's nothing like it normally is, but what's it just kind of like generally, with the other people around?
It's contained. It's low key. When you walk in the door back in the day, last year and any of the year prior to that, when you would walk into this, which is the inside the guts of the convention center, as you know, there would be a square or a rectangle in the middle that would have the major networks from whoever,
right?
CBS, Fox, ESPN, other shows that were from the networks, and then we would be spread out in various, areas around, or sometimes they were on the perimeter and we were in the interior. There are no stages. There is none of them. If they are, they're most likely somewhere else in Tampa, or they're just back at their main studios. And there are about 40 tables that look just like this one with the dividers. And then you kind of have these, of course, almost like what is a cross with the way it's set up. And I'd say out of the 40 tables, about 22 or 23 have been occupied. Yesterday, it was only 10 or 12. So we're one of the new ones today. And then there are about 8 or other radio stations. And I'd say right now, there might be 10 to 14 stations who are on the air live at this particular time. And there's 40 feet in between each one of the setups, whether it's us or anyone else who's here right now.
So, Craig, you have to do like a daily check-in of answering questions on the app. And I walked from that point. Smokey and I got a little separated. Mine was slow. But from that point on, I went through security, through accreditation to get my credential, and into this room, and I didn't see another person that didn't have a red jacket on until I walked through the door.
Yeah, it's good. Our parking area is honestly as if we were the commissioner.
You'd cry.
For those of you who have ever traveled with us in the past, from the years that we traveled, even back Super Bowl 27.
It's the opposite of Atlanta. So
it's different. It's absolutely unique. It is different. And I said this just a minute ago on Twitter. Some people ask, why are we here? I ask, why not? And we are here, and we'll be here today, tomorrow, and Friday. And one of the reasons is because we have great guests all the time. We've had a Hall of Famer, Randy White, with us early on when we launched our show in April. And Randy White, Cowboys Hall of Fame defensive tackle, joins us again on SicEm365 Radio. Randy, what memories or what kind of comes to mind when it becomes Super Bowl the week of, when it comes to your memories in past?
Well, I like to think about Super Bowl 12. We won the Super Bowl. It was my birthday. It was played on January 15th. We won the game, which is the main thing. We got to get a Super Bowl ring, a world championship ring, and Harvey Martin and I got chosen co-MVPs of that game. So that was a day that I probably will never forget in my life.
Yeah, they don't usually give love for the defensive line anymore, Randy, with the MVPs. Do you kind of swell with pride though that you guys are some of the few that actually grabbed the Super Bowl MVP from that position?
Well, I played on a great team. I mean, surely you know Roger Staubach could have been the MVP. A guy named Randy Hughes, who was a defensive back, made some big plays in that football game. A defensive back. Randy Hughes could have been the MVP. Ed Jones could have been in there with us without a doubt. But Harvey and I were fortunate enough to represent the team and the defense. So it was a great honor. And it, like you said, it doesn't happen too often, even the defensive linemen, unless they just have an outstanding game. So, that was a good one. And the bad one is, we played Pittsburgh twice. We played them in 1975, and then we played them the year after we won the Super Bowl. And those are two games we didn't win. And, that's what haunts you. I don't very rarely talk much about the Super Bowl 12 that we won when we're together with the group, but we'll for sure think of reasons why we didn't beat Pittsburgh in them other two Super Bowls. That haunts you for the rest of your life, I can tell you, when you lose one.
How many of those guys, and I know time goes on, people come and go and all that, but how is there a tightness still there when you've accomplished something like that you keep in touch and there's that forever bond of you were Super Bowl champions together?
Well, that's always there. We don't get together that often as we probably should, but, Harvey's gone. I see Ed periodically. I see Ed, and, that's always a great reunion. You pick up like it's been no time since the last time you've seen the guys. So, yeah, there's a camaraderie there that will be there for the rest of your life, when you have a group like that. Whether you go to a Super Bowl or not, but if you go to a Super Bowl and you win, and that special moment and all the memories that go along with that, that's a special bond that you have.
Randy, when you watch the Cowboys go through yet another year, and they lost Prescott, they lost other players, but a lot of teams lose players along the way, and sometimes you have one year worse than others. When you watch them right now, and could you ever have imagined that they would go 25 years without playing for a championship? The Cowboys, the organization that you won the Super Bowl and were a part of those three?
Well, that's tough. No, because you're going to be positive, and I'm a Cowboy fan, and every year, I think, well, this would be their year. This past year, this whole year has been kind of upside down. But, when you lose injuries to some of the key players, especially in your offensive line, that they lost players, it's hard to put that back together. And then you lose your quarterback, who is, the key guy on your team. I really, not making excuses for them, but they were up against the wall this year with injuries, really hurt them. And I think some of the players that they got on defense that they felt like could be an impact player like I think that's somewhere that, I was glad to see him get a big, mean guy in the middle, but he was past his prime and he was overweight and he just really didn't do the job that they had hoped that he would do. So that was a disappointment, but we just try and put it together and come back next year.
Babe Laufenberg told us that Don Terry Poe retired and just didn't tell anybody. Randy.
Yeah, he retired. He took his money and retired. He got the check and then retired. Yeah. Well, we'll leave that alone. But when he was with Kansas City, he was a heck of a football player. I used to enjoy watching him on film because he was such a great player, and I was excited that they got him because I think they felt as though he could be a difference maker, putting pressure up the middle, and which is an area that they have not had, and that makes it hard for their ends because you don't have that guy coming up the middle, make it pressuring the guy to make him get out of the center of the field. So I think that's an area this next year that I would, if I was picking talent, that's an area I would look to try and find somebody that could be a dominant player in that middle of that line.
Randy, as you know, there is a nearly 100% chance, although with Drew Pearson, with what he's been through when it comes to the Hall of Fame, you never know until finally they do make that call. It appears as if he finally will go into the Hall of Fame this weekend. What does that mean to you and all the former players that played with him?
Well, Drew was a great player on our football teams. Had a lot of contributed a lot to the success of the Cowboys over the years. I'm glad to see Drew get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Me personally, I think Ed Jones should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Harvey Martin should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Leroy Jordan should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think Chuck Howlett should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I think a lot of the Cornell Green should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think a lot of these guys have been overlooked over the years, and Drew getting in is a great thing, and hopefully that'll open the door for some of these other great Cowboy players that haven't been recognized. That I personally feel like they should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Randy, thank you very much for jumping on with us. Last time we had you on was when everything was kind of changing. And I remember you said I think you were cleaning out your garage like for the fourth time in a week or whatever it was. Everything okay with you?
Oh, everything's good. Surviving this, like I said, this crazy times we're living in, surviving it and doing well. So we just keep putting one foot in front of the other and be positive and trust in the Lord, and everything will be all right.
There you go. Couldn't have said it any better. Thank you very much. Randy White, Hall of Fame defensive tackle, with us on this Super Bowl Radio Row in Tampa at the Convention Center on SicEm365 Radio. Coming up next, he won 3 Super Bowl rings, 1 with the Redskins, 2 with Denver. Mark Schlereth is next on SicEm365 Radio.
2020 made you tough. Now get a tough SUV to match. There's a reason Allen Samuels has been a Customer First Excellence Award winner for 3 consecutive years. Stop by and check out the friendly, courteous sales staff, world-class facility, and top-ranked Jeep inventory. Get $6,750 in values on a new Jeep Renegade or $4,000 in total values on the new Tough as Nails Jeep Gladiator Sport and Oberlin. Experience firsthand the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels and check them out at allensamuelsdcj.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
How Why did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
We've sent the nomination forms to area high school counselors for the 11th annual Academic All-Stars team, and we will find 20 elite student athletes who excel in both academic and athletic competition from Central Texas high schools. Hello, everyone. This is David Smoak. Our title sponsor is Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952. The 2021 Academic All-Stars program is also brought to you by Westdale Asset Management, Englander Design Pack, Southwest Sports Medicine, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Coca-Cola of Waco, Ray Broker Air Conditioning and Heating, Texas Sports Hall of Fame, HEB, the McLean Group, Universal Windows Direct, Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, and the Waco Foundation are 501c3. Nomination deadlines March 31st. We'll eventually announce the team on Monday, May 3rd, honor them at our annual banquet on Wednesday, May the 19th. It's the 11th annual Academic All-Stars team highlighting the elite student athletes in Central Texas right here on SicEm365 Radio.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
All right, here we go. We're live at Super Bowl Radio Row in Tampa, Florida, NFL media headquarters and the convention center. And we just had Randy White, Hall of Fame defensive tackle. Earlier, Baylor Scott Drew on unbeaten Baylor, and now joined by Mark Schlereth, 12-year NFL veteran, 3-time Super Bowl champion, twice with the Broncos, one with the Redskins. And he's on with us live on SicEm365 Radio with Paul Craig, and I'm David Smoak. Mark, thank you. First of all, we appreciate your time. So when it becomes the Super of, how much do you flash back to your time with Denver and Washington during those games?
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, usually I'm out there in the Super Bowl city in the site, and it's always fun, to kind of reminisce about that stuff. And that's always fun. But, I love football so much. I love studying it. I love preparing. I've got great mentors that I spend a lot of time with, whether it's Mike Shanahan or some of the coaches that are in the league currently. And so, I'm always kind of trying to learn and look forward and have a more global perspective of the game. So it's always fun to reminisce, but I just enjoy looking forward. I enjoy looking at the matchup.
I know this may sound like a cliche, maybe it is a cliche, but one of the things you hear all the time is that sometimes the team that has the less amount of guys that has been here before and dealt with all the zoo that the Super Bowl is at a disadvantage. Is that different this year because there is no zoo? It's just like a normal week. They're going to fly in on Friday and
I obviously have to put up with, less ticket requests and all that kind of crap that normally you have to put up with. So I think that for both teams. So I think that part is definitely an advantage. That's how you deal with it. Ultimately, once the game, I was hit ball game. It's just like every other game you've ever played. It's like no, So you just kind of got to deal with all the pomp and circumstance, and the team to me that wins is the team that settles in and plays their game, and doesn't think about all the other stuff that's surrounded. You will, rest on your laurels. You'll just kind of get into cruise control. Like the fact that he can continue to grind at 43, the fact that he can motivate the way he is motivated, the fact that he does all the things that he does, that the work ethic, the knowledge, the study, the preparation, how he rises the level of every other guy around him. That's the most fascinating thing to me, because human nature to me, like I always say, I've learned things during the hard times. I've learned how tough I can be. I learned all the different things that, I can put up with and stuff. But during the good times, I was too busy patting myself on the back to learn anything. And it's fascinating to me that he has not been sated by his success. That to me is a fascinating aspect of Tom Brady.
You were a part of the Redskins' last Super Bowl championship, and then you were a part of John Elway's first two ones that he won as a team with Davis and others, a great team. After you won the first one, did that make it, you get more hungrier to win another one, or sometimes do you think guys get just satisfied?
Well, I think there are those who get satisfied, and then there are those guys from an organizational standpoint that they're like, hey, man, I got a championship, man. I'm going to chase money now, and so it's hard to keep teams together. It's hard to keep teams focused from that standpoint. So that's kind of a difficult thing. And I think that's a real thing. And so, that's always one of those things that you have to worry about. I just like the fact that you can get here, like for the Kansas City Chiefs back to back, that's a really hard thing to overcome. And it shows the level of connectivity the team has, and also just the unselfishness this team has, because it's hard to do.
Mark, I always enjoyed your work with our mutual friend Trey Wingo, Baylor guy that you guys did, and I really enjoyed you in the booth doing games this year. I know that you got a little bit of the acting bug with The Rock, and he put you on Ballers a few times. What else do you have going on in the multimedia verse so we can catch you in? You going to play somebody that's not Mark Schlereth in something soon?
I don't have any plans now. If somebody comes calling, I definitely would do that. But yeah, you know what? It's always one of those things. I just enjoy the connectivity, right? One of the things I loved about I love team. I just love being part of a team, and I love connecting with people. And, whether it's my broadcast team at Fox calling games, or my radio team locally in Denver, Colorado, when I was playing, whether it was with Washington or Denver, I just love that aspect of sacrificing for one another. I always tell people, think about, when Jesus started his ministry, right, at 33 or whatever he was, what's the first thing he did? He got 12 disciples together, right? He collected a team and he said, let's go change the world, right? Like, to me, team is it's just such a big part of our culture. And I love that connectivity. I love being part of that.
Mark, what did you think of the job Ron Rivera did with the Washington football team this year? Their defense is obviously very good. Need to kind of figure out the quarterback position after, Haskins obviously went bust. But overall, what did you make of their season?
Ron is a great leader of men. He's a great football coach. Defensively, they were horrible early in the year. Like I did one of their games probably week 4, week 5, and they were giving up explosives. It was like it was their job to give up explosives. And I'm telling you, it was one of those things that you just looked at and you go, wow, this is not very good. And yet they rectified that. They fixed that, both Ron and obviously Jack Del Rio being able to fix that. They're a good football team, man. I was really impressed with the run they put on toward the end of the season, and doing it with, Alex Smith, having the injury issues and not being able to continue to play, and then, cutting. I love the fact that, hey, if a guy's not committed to playing and a guy doesn't want to be there, get rid of him. Whatever it was. Henneke, like that's a great story. With the coaching job that he did.
We're here at Radio Row, and you've been on Radio Row before. When you were at various places, there's been the larger setups, but it's all compared to radio stations, the networks and all that. And it's different. It's different because of working with pathogen.com, and it's about from where pathogen.com.
Yeah, Pathogen Solutions, and it's all connectivity and bringing us back to normal, bringing us back together. They have a shoe sanitizing unit. The technology is absolutely second to none. It's patented technology. You stand on the unit for 8 seconds, and 99.999% of all germs, all the E. coli, the staph, the coronavirus, MRSA, is zapped. It's gone. And so when you talk about, walking into a facility, whether it's a locker room or whether it's your radio station, our ability to connect once again as fans, as coworkers, wearing the mask and washing our hands, and then we track the crap in on our shoes, right? Mm-hmm. So it's about bringing us back to normal, a sense of normal. And one of the great events last year, I went as a fan for Fox, sat in the Kansas City Chiefs section, trashed the Chiefs fans because I was rooting for the Niners. And then, of course, they turned it all back on me in the last activity. It's a sense of community. Man, I'm high-fiving with Chief fans on my dog cussing me on the way out, and we're having a blast doing it. And, it's because we're together. And this is all about bringing us back together. Pathogen Solutions. Check them out at path03gen.com. That's path03gen.com.
It's pathogen, path03, the numbers 03, gen. With COVID, but someone like yourself who's been through so many surgical and operations, something like farms, et cetera, does that make it even closer to you?
Oh, absolutely. And, and so whenever I go to check on my food, where my food is manufactured, I have to put on the coat. And the last thing you do when you step into the facility, they have a shoe bath. And you walk into the shoe bath to disinfect your shoes before you go into where the food is being created. So to me, it's just another line of defense to say, hey, man, we're doing the best we can to make sure that we're as safe as possible. You can wear the mask and you can sanitize your hands, but if you're bringing in the stuff on your feet, it's going to kick up from the carpet. It's going to get on your computer keyboards and everything else. So, it's an important part of it. And right now they're going to use these units down to the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. They're using them in several different facilities, several different places. So really cool technology and just another line of defense to get us back to normal.
By the way, that's Mark Schlereth's Stinking Good Chili as well. Yeah. You can go on, it's stinkinggood.com, right?
Yes, it is.
Mark, thank you very much. Always appreciated what you did as a pro and what you're doing as well with pathogen.com. Appreciate your insight, your opinion, your experience.
The same. Take care now.
As well, that's Mark Schlereth, 3-time Super Bowl champion, one with Washington with Joe Gibbs, twice a little bit later on when John Elway finally finished, won a couple of Super Bowls. Paul Catalina, David Smoak were in Tampa. Craig's in Waco. He was Mark's 365 Radio. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
By the way, later in the show, Randy Grimes, who played his college football at Baylor, played with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He'll join us at 4. Leonard Marshall, 2-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants at 4:20. And then also King McClure will join us. Matt Saman in the 5 o'clock hour at 5 and 5:30. Tomorrow, Ross Tucker, Mark Rippon, Friday, DeMarcus Ware, and also Sean King. Those are just some of the names among many that we'll have for you as the week goes on. We're now joined by Parkview Christian Academy, all multi-sport, multi-position star, who today signed with Angelo State. He committed to Angelo State, the Rams, a few weeks back, and CJ today actually put his name about 3 hours ago on the dotted line. He joins us on SicEm365 Radio. CJ, everyone knows the history of six-man football in the state of Texas, but very few times do players at that level have a chance to go play at the next level. What did today mean to you, Parkview, and also your family?
It meant a lot. It was probably one of the best days of my life, but I first got to give all glory to my God, and just for having this opportunity. It's an amazing feeling, and it's amazing to play another 4 years of football.
How long do you think it'll take you to get used to the other 5 dudes?
I don't know. A lot of the guys and me are following each other on Twitter right now, and we're about to start talking a lot. But I'm already studying 11-man football, and I'm already trying to digest all the plays and all the blocking schemes right now. But I feel like it's going to go just fine.
CJ, have you played 11-man before? I know obviously you played 6-man in high school, but have you ever really played 11-man football at all, and even like Pee Wee or something like that?
Yes, sir. I played since my kindergarten all the way up to my 6th grade year.
Okay.
And I've been just studying ever since.
Gotcha.
CJ, do you feel like that you're part of what is a consistent wave of breaking ground? You know, there's again, Jack Pardee went to Cristobal High School, played at A&M, played in the NFL. He was a head coach in the NFL for a while as well, and he's like one of the first to ever do this. Do you feel like there's anything that kind of represents you being a part of breaking ground as a player? And if that's the case, what does that feel like?
I don't know. Some days it just doesn't even feel real, and I don't know. I'm just honored to be in this position, and hopefully I just stay healthy through the whole process so I can hopefully achieve my dreams of going to the NFL.
When was the last time you heard the name Jack Pardee? And I won't be shocked if it was 45 seconds ago.
To be honest, it's 45 seconds ago.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine because it's all about learning something, and this is something that Josh Hayes, your head coach, can help you out. Go Google his name, Jack Pardee. He plays 6-man football at Cristobal.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great player at A&M.
He's a Junction boy.
He's part of the Bear Bryant's, the Junction Boys back in the day. Played with the Rams, Washington. He was a head coach of the Redskins. So that's someone.
The Oilers.
The
University of Houston.
The USFL, the Gamblers, I think, like that. So that's something for you to read up on him, and that's why I brought it up because it's part of. Every once in a while, you're the next level of someone bringing attention to what you guys do and what it means that you can have a chance. Who was your inspiration growing up and why?
I had a lot of people that I admired in the NFL and everything like that. I admired Emmitt Smith, just how hard he was and everything like that. I always thought that was crazy how his 15-yard burst was just better than anyone's, and he could shut off any run in any time. But also recently I've been watching the Texas Longhorns and Sam Ehlinger, just how he can lead a team on the field and just how vocal he is as a captain, and that's what I want to be. And also Tim Tebow is one of the guys that I want to strive to have that influence on people because I am a Christian and I do love my God. I'm going to give him the glory for everything I get because he deserves all the glory at the end of the day.
CJ, what was it about Angelo State? When did they first get into contact with you? What were those initial conversations like? And then, eventually making the decision that's where you wanted to play football.
Angelo State has been watching me since my freshman year of football. Coach Jason Johnson came up to school when I was a freshman, and he started talking to me. And he said, when I heard these words, you're on my radar, I was so excited, unbelievably excited. I ran home, told my dad, and he's like, this is where it starts. Now you got to start working for it. And so Angelo State, they're an all-around good program, and I love their academic side, and they're really strong in football. And Coach Jeff Gersh is like a very wise coach, and just listening to him talk and just the ideas that he has, I believe that it'll help me in my career, and maybe I can better the Ram community too.
Yeah, they were back in the late 70s, and I know that's well before you could even remember because I'm old. They won a national championship at Angelo State, and then they've had some nice programs along the way, so hopefully you get a chance to help them as well have the success that you want to have. I'm telling you, CJ, it's a great story. Congratulations. Josh told me a long time ago that the college where Don Beebe was coaching, that they had contacted you, among others, and here you are. You're going to play at one nice, really good school, have a chance to play 11-man football in college. You represent everything right. Thanks for your time and congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you, too.
CJ Lanehart of Parkview Christian Academy joins us today. He is signed with Angelo State today, National Signing Day. It's a little unique. We've talked about how Radio Row here in Tampa is unique. National Signing Day is unique not because of COVID, not because of any of that, but because of what now is done in December. A huge chunk of players signed back in December. Baylor didn't sign anybody today. Mm-hmm. I saw where A&M or Texas or a couple of others were able to get a couple of more.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it's different. There has, and Craig knows this from all the years he's covered Super Bowls with us as well. When we used to go to the Super Bowl, sometimes it was realignment year in the UIL on the Monday and National Signing Day with us on Wednesday. And it was during the time we were at the Super Bowl. So it is unique. Craig, there was a lot of guys that signed today. I know there's some interesting stories. It seemed like, and I know you and Grayson yesterday covered a lot of the ground, but the preferred walk-on push for Baylor continued again with Bates. I think it was Bates signed or committed yesterday. Your thoughts about just today alone?
Yeah, not really a whole lot to write home about if you're a Baylor fan. I mean, we said yesterday on the show and yesterday on the Bearcast to not expect anything in regards to Baylor today, and that's come to fruition. There was not even a little bit of a hint that they would add on to this class. I think they're squarely focused on the transfer portal and, what that may be able to do for them, make a bigger impact possibly in the short term, because I think they feel like they've got a pretty good team coming in next year and a nice adjustment with these new coaches. And so I don't think, I think they're looking at holes they might have and deciding if we can bring in a guy who's got a little bit of experience and who can play, quicker, then that fills some holes and we can be a really good team next year. So I think they kind of maybe moved a little bit away from, worrying about getting the high school kids after the big class they were able to, or the nice class they were able to sign in December. But yeah, it's been very strange just how quiet it is. But if you're a member of SicEm365.com, then you kind of knew going in not to get your hopes up that there was going to be any big surprise. I mean, we laid it out that, hey, all the additions are probably going to come after signing day and in the form of guys in the transfer portal and things like that. So sort of weird. I think the December signing day has definitely killed the February signing day, maybe this year more so than ever before, even though we don't have, but a handful of years, if that at this point to compare to. But this did seem like the quietest, quote-unquote national signing day that I think I've followed in quite some time. So just kind of the changing landscape of college football. Next year maybe they sign 5 or 6 guys in February, but this year just wasn't in the cards.
Yeah, like, for example, I know we got up against the break. Randy Grimes is next, and then also we'll have Leonard Marshall at 4:20 or so. La Vega had 13 more signed today. They had 5 in December. Connolly had 4 or 5 today. China Spring, 4 or 5 today. Waco High, University, Midway, Declan McCabe signed with Montana, offensive lineman, and many others all over the country, along the state. And you saw schools everywhere, of course, coming into the state, Central Texas as well. So congratulations, and not just football on this National Signing Day. Coming up next, Randy Grimes and his story from being an All-Southwest Conference star, All-American, NFL player, to also rode back from recovery. He's told his story every year that I can remember for many years. He's next. We're live in Tampa and Waco. Randy Grimes next on SicEm365 Radio.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sausage, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Held the Rams to 2 for 8. Brady floats it. He's got Evans. What a throw.
The presenting sponsor of Super Bowl 55 coverage from Tampa, Florida on SicEm365 Radio is Marco's Pizza. Pizza for pizza lovers with locations in Woodway, China Spring, and Belmead.
Mahomes in trouble, able to load it, and gets the completion at the 49 to Kelsey again.
Also brought to you by IdealMRI.com, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Waco Custom Marketplace, Boozer's Jewelers, Stonewood Dental, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac.
Lobs it up in the air to Kelsey. No one near him.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Petty Clinic Low T, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, and Impact Health Labs. Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Paul Catalina, David Smoak. We're live at Radio Row in Tampa, Florida, inside the convention center. We had Scott Drew, Randy White, Mark Schlereth, CJ Lanehart, and now joined by someone that has become every year, not just because it's on Radio Row, but a friend of us, a friend of ours, and a friend of so many people because of what he represents. Randy Grimes, former Baylor All-American offensive lineman, played center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're kind of in this Super Bowl thing this week, and also someone who has an amazing story to tell. With Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak, and David Smoak, Randy Grimes joins us. Great to see you this morning. You look great.
No, you look great, man. You make me sick how good you look. I'm so proud of you, how you maintained yourself.
I appreciate that. I really do. Randy, you come here every year, and you have an amazing story to tell. And I've seen how it's developed over the years, and I can't remember. It's been a while now. You've become a veteran of this. This is completely different, obviously, with the way it's kind of a skeleton of itself. But what does coming to Radio Row do for you?
Well, this is our 12th consecutive year of coming and talking about what we do and the work we do with the Player Care Foundation and White Sands Treatment Center there in Tampa, Florida. And, I can't spend enough time trying to get the word out to former NFL players that there's hope and help and resources out there. For so long, I was out there struggling with my own addiction, and for a lot of different reasons: pride, ego, guilt, shame. But also, I didn't think there was a resource out there available to former NFL players. And, when I finally put my hand up and asked for help, it was, that's how I got on that airplane to Florida that night to that treatment center. And I wanted to give back. I wanted to make everything that I went through mean something and be for something and to help others. And because I knew there were so many guys out there just like me, guys that I played with and against who were self-medicating injuries they got while they played. And they didn't know that there was any resources out there available. So I wanted to get the word out to as many as I can. And that's why I come every year. I get a lot of coverage. It's a great opportunity to get the word out. And I want guys to know that there's hope and help.
Randy, this year for a lot of people, not people with addiction, depression, all that, has been a rough year the last, 12, 13 months or so. Have you, in your efforts, had to really kind of kick it into overdrive and look out for guys that have had problems in the past and make sure that that COVID-19 and separation and all that stuff didn't kind of kick this stuff up a little bit?
Well, absolutely, because we were already in a substance abuse and mental health pandemic before this pandemic started. So now we have a pandemic within a pandemic, and the one thing they tell us to do is isolate, and that's the last thing I tell people to do. That's the worst thing that we in recovery can do. But thank goodness for virtual meetings, for virtual therapy, for virtual sponsorship. I'm able to stay in touch with all my people virtually, and hopefully we're on the downhill side of this. And we're all just doing the best we can and feeling our way through it. But mental health issues have been on the rise. Substance abuse issues have been on the rise through this. And I don't want people to feel like that there's no hope out there. I want people to know that this can happen to anybody, and it does happen to everybody. And you got to put beside that guilt and shame and that pride and ego, and you've got to put your hand up and ask for help. I say all the time that it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to not ask for help.
Randy, you speak a lot about mental health, and that's so important. And for a long time, that was something that was maybe sort of shunned or not openly talked about. It was seen maybe as a weakness. That certainly has seemed to slowly but surely change around this country. Since we last talked to you like a year ago, have you seen more improvement as far as, people acknowledging mental health and having different outlets for people in need?
Well, and part of the other piece of this is that, I'm trying to tear down the walls of stigma that surround mental health issues. Right. And let people know that it's okay to not be okay. And yeah, depression is on the rise right now because of all the things that have been going on. We have all kinds of separation and isolation issues and anxiety and everything like that. So yeah, there's a lot going on right now because of this COVID. But, it's something that all we can do is continue to get out there and educate people, encourage people to raise their hand, and encourage people and let them know that, like I said, it's okay to not be okay.
You know, when someone is at a level where they absolutely, Randy, are ready to give up everything, which is shocking, and it can be embarrassing, and it could be obviously traumatic, and in some cases frightening. What's one thing, just one piece of advice you would give them?
That you don't have to go there. You know, you don't have to hit that bottom. A lot, you know, that's a famous saying. Well, they've got to hit their bottom. Well, you know, a lot of people don't recover from their bottoms. You know, they don't make it back. You know, they commit a felony, or God forbid, something worse. You know, and so I encourage, you know, when I go out and I speak, you know, I encourage parents to be more involved. You know, parents are so guilty of burying their heads in the sand and thinking that if they don't acknowledge the problem, then it doesn't really exist, or that it'll get better on its own, and it never does. You know, we're losing an entire generation of kids right before our eyes, and we've got to put a stop to that. We have got to get involved. We have got to educate these kids. We've got to educate teachers, coaches, everybody on the mental health and substance abuse. I mean, kids are out there self-medicating all their different mental health issues, and we've got to get a hold on that.
Randy, have you seen maybe an uptick in awareness now that you and other NFL players and former athletes are speaking out and saying, yeah, I got this too? Because sometimes it's like, well, we put our athletes up on a pedestal and we think, well, they can't be dealing with what I'm dealing with. They're different than me.
Oh my gosh, since we started doing this, we've helped hundreds and hundreds of former athletes, former NFL players. You know, I started this just to reach out to my brothers, to the guys that I played with and against, because I knew they were out doing the same thing I was doing, self-medicate the injuries they got while they played. But, you know, all of a sudden Major League Baseball got involved, and all these former baseball players and hockey players and basketball players and jockeys and NASCAR drivers and golfers and tennis players. You know, everybody started putting up their hands saying, hey, yeah, we've got the same issues. When I didn't have that uniform to put on anymore, or that locker room to sit in anymore, or that playbook to look at anymore, I struggled. You know, I had all kinds of I call it transitional trauma. And, you know, I struggled with that. And I already had what I was considering a necessary evil, because, you know, I was that guy who was willing to do whatever it took to stay on the field and play through my injuries. And that meant taking handfuls of pain pills. You know, I already had that going on, but now you throw in this transitional trauma. I wasn't ready to leave the game. I thought I was, but I wasn't. And now that was just throwing gas on an already raging fire. So, yeah, a lot of players still have that. They're still asking for help, or a lot of former players, and they're still asking for help. And, you know, I'm guilty of doing these things every year and only talking about athletes, but I'm talking about everybody. I mean, this is a national pandemic, and you know, this goes for everybody. It's not just athletes, but it can happen to anybody, and it does.
Randy, on a slightly lighter topic, Super Bowl's in Tampa, obviously. You were a longtime member of the Buccaneers. What's it been like to see Tom Brady join the team and Gronk join the team and now see them in this position that they're in?
You know what? When they signed Brady, I didn't know how much more gas he had in the tank. I didn't know what he was going to bring physically to Tampa Bay. I didn't know how much he had left. And, of course, he proved us all wrong. He's got more than enough left. He looks like he's got another 10 years in him. I wish I'd have taken care of my body like he's taking care of his. But, you know, the main thing about Tom, Tom's a great quarterback. He's got all the physical attributes, and he's proven it time after time after time. But what Tom brings to that huddle is that air of confidence. And I know as an offensive line, when things are not going well, when I go back to the huddle, I want to see somebody that's in charge. I want to see somebody that's calm. I want to see somebody that's been there before and done it. And that's Tom Brady. And that's what he brings to this young Tampa Bay Buccaneer football team. And that, you know, just that alone is worth every cent they pay him.
I saw a quote, and it was earlier today, that after they won their game at Green Bay, that one of the players on the team was in tears because they were so happy to win the NFC Championship and have a trip to the Super Bowl. And he almost dog-cussed them, and I don't know the exact moment or exactly what was said, but like, what are you crying about? We got more to do. Isn't that what separates the great ones, knowing that, yeah, this is good, enjoy it, but we have something else to accomplish?
That's exactly what I was talking about. That's what he brings, and that's what he's going to teach all these young kids, and that's his legacy that he's going to leave in Tampa is how to win the big game. I never got that opportunity. I'm most excited for the fans of Tampa because, even going back to 83 and even before me in 76 when they were coming out to the sombrero and that sun was beating down on them and we were not winning any games at all, having an 0-16 years, they kept coming out. They just kept coming. They kept showing up. And they kept turning out. And you know what? They've been loyal since day one. And even when I got there in 83, the whole decade I was there, my best season was 6-10, but the sombrero was always full. And our fans loved us. They supported us. They were there for us. And they suited up and they showed up.
Right, you missed Spurrier. You were after Spurrier when he was the quarterback.
I was
right?
after Spurrier. Yeah, Spurrier was the first quarterback we ever had.
Yeah, it was tell us about the sombrero a little bit. When I was a kid, it was one of the first stadiums I went to growing up in Fort Myers, and it was kind of had a weird, unique vibe to it because of the way it looked.
It's because of all that creamsicle in there. That's why. But you gotta love the creamsicle.
Mm-hmm. Randy, you played at Baylor, All-American, All-Southwest Conference. You're part of the Athletic Hall of Fame. They struggled last year with the new coach, the staff. They didn't have spring drills. A lot of teams went through that, and they just never could put it together. But as an offensive lineman, you saw when you watched them how many times you maybe were able to, that they really, really struggled on the offensive line. They have a new offensive coordinator, and they have a new offensive line coach. Your thoughts about what they've done with the coaching staff changes?
Those players have been through so much, and not only with coaching changes and personnel changes, but with this virus. And, you just couldn't get any consistency going. There were some injuries or people were pulled out because of COVID testing and all that stuff. And, watching this year is just really not a good indicator of their potential. I think if they get an off season together, they get a summer together, they get a preseason together, then I think we're going to see a lot better team. I've got a good feeling about Coach. And, you know what? Baylor has always gone out and gotten some great athletes. They've always been coached well, and I just really think they're going to turn the corner this year.
Randy Grimes, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, former Baylor All-American. Again, his time. White Sands Treatment Center, the Safe Bowl, Sunday from 3 to 6. Also, the Victory Recovery High School in Tampa, author of his book, Off Center, founder of Athletes in Recovery, working with the NFL Player Care Program at proathletesinrecovery.org. It's always great to see you. As one of the first people I saw when I walked in the door today. Thank you for what you represent, what you do, and we'll see you soon.
Hey, you guys are my heroes, and hello, Waco, Texas. I miss you guys.
Randy Grimes with us. 12 consecutive years on Radio Row. And I remember the first year he was here. And it wasn't awkward. It was not uncomfortable. It was great to see him, but how he has now blossomed with what he does, his words, his experience, and the way he goes at it is truly amazing. All right, when we come back, Leonard Marshall, two-time Super Bowl champion with the Giants. He's a guy that's kind of on the edge of a Super Bowl winning player, enough to be a Hall of Famer. We'll talk with him about that and much more. SicEm365 Radio.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricUSA.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's time to be brutally honest with yourself. Look in the mirror or weigh yourself. Do you weigh as much, more, or less than you did before the holidays or a year ago? Why not start the year in better shape than how you ended it and create momentum for 2021 and help strip the negative vibes, tension, pressure, and extra pounds from the crazy of 2020? It's time right now to join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. It's so much more than a gym, including world-class tennis courts, lessons available with pros, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, personal training to get you over the hump. I promise you'll look better and feel better than ever before. Just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Court. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp, spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation, a tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So make this your best and healthiest year ever. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozers Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
We are working on Leonard Marshall, 2-time Super Bowl champion. By the way, you can tee it up this spring at Top Golf. Top Golf Live brings the epic Top Golf experience to Waco and McLean Stadium. At the end of this month, February the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. To purchase your tickets today, please visit topgolflive.com. That's topgolflive.com. And by the way, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You can take golf swings from the concourse of McLean Stadium, along with friendly competition. Top Golf Live transforms the iconic venue of McLean Stadium to a truly unique event that's coming up the 25th through the 28th at McLean Stadium in Waco. We're now joined by 2-time Super Bowl champion. We've had Randy White, won a Super Bowl. Mark Schlereth won 3. Leonard Marshall of the Giants won twice, including once in Tampa, and he joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Leonard, what did winning a Super Bowl mean to you personally?
Well, it was the pinnacle of
lot of hard work. All the work that goes into actually, culmination of developing yourself as a football player, helping your team, helping your coaches deploy a system and implement it and have the success garnered from it. Winning the Super Bowl is the pinnacle of a bunch of hard work, all that weightlifting, all those wind sprints you ran, all the video you watched, all the studying you did, all the practices you went through. Everything involved with that is what winning a Super Bowl is all about.
Leonard, what was your first impression of Bill Parcells?
I thought he was nuts. I thought he was completely bananas. First time I met him, I said, "Is this a brother disguised with white skin, or what is this?" Because he had this swagger about him. We used to call him Hackensack Bill because he was like, you thought he was almost a pillar on the corner in Hackensack. When he talked to you, he didn't talk like your traditional football coach. He talked like he was from the hood. He brought himself down to your level and talked to you on that level, and you could relate to him because of that. So it was funny because I had the same conversation with 4 of my teammates, and all of us came back to the same exact thing, that I guess the reason why we bonded so well with him and you became a Bill Parcells guy is because you could relate to him.
When did you guys get the sense, or when did you get the sense that, not only did you like him and you could relate to him, but like, hey, there's something starting to kind of build here, and, obviously you'd go on to win the Super Bowl, or, that didn't happen pretty quickly after Parcells came on board, but like, when did you get the sense like, hey, there's something really working here with him and this team?
In 1984, we played the Rams in the regular season, and we got beat. We turned around and played the Rams in the playoffs, and we beat them out in their own place. And I made a play in the waning minutes of the game to pretty much solidify the game for us. They made a mistake and gave the ball to Dwayne Crutchfield on the 2-yard line and not give it to their 100-yard running back in Eric Dickerson. And Parcells jumped on me in the locker room and hugged me like I was his long-lost child, man, and said to me, "You know what? I knew you were going to be the player who you become, and I think today you arrived. You arrived today, and I'm so proud that I was actually here to watch you do that, because in 1983, when we were 3-12-1, we didn't think we'd get him back as our coach in 1984. And when he returned and we took this team and made the playoffs and showed, George Young and the Mara family that, the guys that he picked, to cook the gumbo, they were the right guys for what he wanted to get accomplished.
I asked Mark Schlereth this question about an hour ago. He won a Super Bowl with Washington, and then he went on to win 2 more with Denver and with John Elway. You won twice. You won in '86, and then you came back and won it again when you guys beat the Bills in that classic game. Did the second one validate the first one? Was it something that winning one made it even like it became such a thirst you couldn't wait to win another one? Or is there complacency after you win a ring?
Well, I won't say there's complacency after you win a ring, but if you do it real soon in your career, you always think you get another chance to go back. I got to be honest with you. I had the thirst after winning the first one to want to go back every year because of everything that happened in the course of us becoming that football team. You got to remember, we got our ass kicked in 1985 by the Bears, and we were taught a real big lesson by that football team, that you got to always bring your A game. So in '86, when we showed up, we beat the best of the best of the best, and we were 17-2. And I thought we could actually get that back again. I thought our team in '89 was good enough to make the Super Bowl. I knew our team in 1990 was good enough to make the Super Bowl, but I didn't think we could win it unless we had all parts and all cylinders firing at the same time. We kind of proved that. We went out to San Francisco and beat them in the championship game. Because every time I turn around, I go back and watch that tape. I look at that football team. I've never seen 11 guys on defense play that tight and that good for the course of 17, 18, 19 weeks of football and end up loving somebody. And at the end of the day, being able to stand there with the trophy in our hand. So the 1990 team is extremely special because we really shouldn't have been there, but we proved that we deserved to be there because we beat the best of the best of the best.
You had some really talented players. I mean, obviously you, Carl Banks, Lawrence Taylor, maybe the most talented defensive player in the history of the league on those teams. What was it like meshing all those personalities together, especially with a guy who had some wild times like LT did?
We didn't have a problem in our locker room in terms of ego. Everyone knew that in order for the New York Giants to win, Leonard Marshall and Lawrence Taylor had to have a great day of rushing the other team's quarterback. And they had to have a great day in terms of their stats. There had to be at least, multiple sacks between the two of us and multiple tackles between the two of us. So, in order for us to really win on defense. And all the guys expected that, and they knew going in that every week that Lawrence and I were going to bring our best game, as well as Carl Banks, George Martin, Jimmy Burt, Harry Carson, and the others. But a lot of pressure was put on Lawrence and I early on, and we accepted the pressure and the responsibility from Bill Belichick. He was our guy. So, he was the guy who made sure that ego didn't come into play at all. I'll never forget it. In 1986, we lose to Dallas the opening game of the season. We turn around the next ball game, and we're going to play, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we played the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I thought we were going to get our butt kicked again. But for some reason, Bill Parcells walked in the locker room at halftime. He said, "You know what my problem is? I think you guys have been reading the newspaper too much. You guys have predicted to win the Super Bowl, but you're not going to win the Super Bowl by just showing up. You got to play football. You got to come in here, everything I taught you to do in training camp, everything I asked you to do in training camp, and give it all to each other and trust each other. Learn how to trust each other." And I think that was the turning point for our team in 86 and what made the difference in terms of the team that went there in 85 and the team that went there to win it in 86.
Leonard, what do you remember about, where you were, what you were doing, and what was going through your mind when Scott Norwood was lining up to try to win the game for the Bills?
I turned to my father in the stands. I'll never forget it. He was 5 rows up behind our bench. I said, "Daddy, he missed that kick to get a brand new Cadillac."
Awesome.
He missed that kick to get the brand new Cadillac. But if he makes that kick, we're just going to go to Disney World and have a good time. and as the game ended, I couldn't have been happier, man, because, it was the first time my father actually got a chance to watch me play a game in the Super Bowl. He didn't make it to the 86 Super Bowl. They had a party at home instead. And it was a big day for my family, man.
So you ended up going to Disney World and bought him a Cadillac, right?
Absolutely. I have to pay for their trip to Disney World.
You mentioned the championship win against San Francisco, and what a lot of people think about Norwood, that kick, which was one of the most memorable things ever in the Super Bowl, not for Bills fans and even for them, but you're the one that set the tone. You guys had a great defense, you mentioned that, but against Joe Montana in the championship game, you're the one that basically knocked him out of the game. That was a moment that not so much turned it around, but set the tone. What did that mean to you and the team?
Well, it meant an awful lot because, we lost to them 7-3 in the course of the season. It was one of the best football games I ever played in my life, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. It was probably the best game I ever played in my life, next to the Super Bowl. We just left with a very bad taste in our mouth after that game because we knew we were the better team and we wanted to have another shot at those guys. So when we got a chance to meet them on their place in San Francisco in the NFC Championship game, we said to each other before the ball game in the locker room, we huddled, all 18 of us huddled in the locker room and said, "You know what? No matter what happens today, we're going to leave out here. We're going to leave out here thick as thieves. We're going to know each other better than we ever thought we would. And we're going to leave it all on the football field." And that's what we did, man. We went out there like a bunch of vicious dogs, like you see that video with Lawrence on there, like act like a lot of wild, crazy dogs. That's where he got that from, because we were like a bunch of wild and crazy dogs, and we just knew that we were determined not to be turned away. We wanted to take everything we could from them and take the steam out of them. That 3-feet thing was a motivator for us.
Leonard Marshall, two-time Super Bowl champion. Leonard, we have been talking to B.J. Ganem on occasion. Of course, you know what B.J. has done. We had him on with Joe DeLamalure and others with SierraDelta.com with what he does for soldiers and dogs and that particular organization. What can you tell us about what SierraDelta.com has meant to you as well?
SierraDelta.com is just the most amazing, one of the most amazing organizations I've ever come in contact. BJ and his team do some amazing things in terms of helping men reacclimate themselves into society, but at the same time, use service dogs and animals to help bridge the gap in returning to society and feeling good about yourself again. And it's just a beautiful thing, what we continue to try to do as ex-professional athletes all around the world with wounded warriors and former NFL players and legends and everyone else involved. And I'm just happy to be a part of Sierra Delta, happy and healthy enough to be able to work with BJ and continue to do great things to help men, both from the gridiron and the real iron, which is servicing America and trying to keep America and America's games, the games we know and love, the best ever.
Leonard, you were a part of that defense that had so many stars, and we've mentioned them, you've mentioned them. A lot of those guys now, or some of them, are in the Hall of Fame. How would you, if you could get in front of the voting members of the Hall of Fame, sell Leonard Marshall?
Well, I would tell them that, when you look at what the National Football League stands for, and you look at the players and those that have come before me, I played the game in an era where you played the game to be good. You played the game to want to leave a legacy behind, to say you were the best of the best of the best. And I can honestly stand here and tell you that I was one of the best of the best of the best. My career and my stats are as good as Howie Long's, if not better, as good as Leroy Selman's, if not better, as good as any other great 3-4 defense. Matter of fact, I'm probably the only other 3-4 defensive lineman other than Bruce Smith to not be in the Hall of Fame and to do what I did, 83 and a half quarterback sacks in 12 years, win 2 championships, be named to 3 Pro Bowls, and play at a high level as a consistent starter for the New York Giants for 10 seasons, and end up in 3 Hall of Fame across the country, and end up third all time in the history of the New York Giants football organization in quarterback sacks behind 2 Hall of Famers, Lawrence Taylor and Michael Strahan. It's just very sad that I've been not looked at the way I should, and be judged on what I accomplished in uniform versus what others did outside the game of football.
Leonard, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. 2-time Super Bowl champion, 10 years with the Giants, played with the Jets for Washington as well for a year. Leonard Marshall with us, and also helping represent Sierra Delta Dogs at Sierra Delta Dogs on Twitter, BJ Ganem and SierraDelta.com. This is SicEm365 Radio.
University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. Paul, Catalina, and David Smoak here on Radio Row. Although, and you can see kind of around us, it looks different. If you followed us when we were at the other place before and saw some of our pictures, it looks very different. It's different. Craig and I, we talked about it. Smokey's back with us now. Craig back in studio. It is, Craig, I'll tell you this. One thing that is, I don't like it, but I like it. I mentioned this to Smokey, is that, at noon today in a normal Super Bowl year, I would be twisting around and trying to set up interviews and doing all this technical stuff and blah, 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 blah. But that didn't happen. And part of me didn't miss it because it was very chill.
No, it is a street fight.
Yeah.
And now it's not. It's like walking down a road, a back alley without knowing you're going to get jumped. When you're on normal Radio Row and 110 radio stations and the networks and there's businesses and it is, you could walk down a back alley, you can get mugged, seriously. But it was in a weird, strange, almost positive way. This is, you're walking down a back alley and you're kicking a can and there's not many other people around. Craig, we miss you. We're glad you are a part of it from the studio. I know you also watched the Baylor game last night. But, and it was crazy because when we went to Love Field, from the time we checked in our bags to where we were in front of the gate it's just a crazy way to travel right now. And we're being smart. We're not always wearing our mask like when we're on the air. We got a nice little Airbnb, although when we first arrived, Craig, I was flashbacks to Oxnard. I'm telling you, it was frightening.
Oh, come on.
Well, I don't even think Oxnard was the worst thing. Atlanta was probably the one that was the most sketchy as far as, ever. I'm a big fan of the show The First 48. I just find it kind of interesting, watching cops break down cases and things like that. And I know, it's TV still, but there's just parts of it that I do find fascinating, people's motives and things like that. And so I watch that show on a regular basis, and I definitely feel like I've seen the house that we stayed in on The First 48 probably like 4 or 5 times, or at least the neighborhood. And I'm sort of joking, but not really, because I'm pretty sure that neighborhood has been featured on a couple of occasions. So, yeah, it's definitely, it looks different from, normally if I was watching in this situation, there'd be like a billion people around y'all, but I know that, it's expected to be different. So who else out there? Like I would imagine is like the Kansas City station out there, like the Tampa stations, I guess.
Yeah, St. Louis has got one here. I think Boston is here.
Kansas City is 810 from Kansas City is here. There's 3 stations, the Clear Channel stations from Clear Channel, whatever, the iHeart stations from Tampa. And then there's some other people kind of like us that are kind of independent of anything that are here as well. So yeah, it's not, it's,
Well, you could see kind of the space. The banner we have, the only reason we put the banner behind us this year, one, we have all these, this is obviously plastic that the NFL put up, and there's a little bit, it's just a little bit overkill on some cases, but I get what they're doing, and I appreciate they allowed us to be here. But the banners in the background, we would not be able to have this set up in the past. We'd be getting knocked over. They'd be taking that down. But we bought the banner, which we've had now on every Super Bowl I've covered since 1992 or whatever. There's not a regular table. These are cross. So we put it up behind us to kind of, I didn't want it, W Promotions did a great job with that. Craig, this is about as late, it'll never be like this again.
I hope not.
I hope not. It's as laid back. The access, which is phenomenal, when you can park your car in the garage and maybe walk 50 yards and you're inside, and it's hard to explain. But
It actually sounds like the Super Bowl I probably most enjoy in that case, because me, I'm such a people person. This actually seems like it's my perfect fit would be all of the space and the lack of Jared, the Subway guy, although he's been gone obviously for a few years now. But those are the types of people, or the Kit Kat guy or the Blimpie Subs guy or whoever. But hey, you got to be careful in this era. I think it's cool that you guys are still down there, and obviously you both have a lot of ties to the Tampa area. You get to see family and people that you know as well. So that's an aside to being able to be down there, which is great. But you do have to be careful. And Adam Schefter had the report just about an hour ago that there were over 20 Chiefs players and staff members, including Patrick Mahomes, that were scheduled to get a haircut with a barber who ended up testing positive for COVID. They were, I guess, getting haircuts on Sunday. It turns out the barber had COVID. So the Chiefs, I guess, got a test back on this guy or girl and pulled the barber mid-cut. I don't know who he was cutting, but they pulled him mid-cut once the test results came in. So can you imagine Patrick Mahomes can't play in the Super Bowl because the barber who cut the team's hair had COVID? So, yeah, it's the world we live in right now.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely. The hardest part for me since the time we drove up from Waco to Dallas to go to Love Field, I'll ask you this. What has been the most difficult thing you've experienced? And difficult's not the word. We're in Tampa. The weather's nice. It's a little bit chillier than it normally would be, but it's really nice. We're fortunate to be here. What is your most difficult part of so far since we left Waco?
Hasn't been...
I had to wear a mask on the flight.
The mask for all, like,
and
the whole
it's not
day
that
long.
I'm not the anti-mask. I know that I'd rather not have one, and I'm not wearing one on the air.
Yeah.
But I've been smart. I went out to have lunch. I'm going to tell a story about that in just a second. Did I share that with you yet?
Yes, you did.
Kind of?
Yeah.
Should I?
No, I think you need to keep that one.
Why?
I just people can read it the wrong way.
Okay, so it is wearing the mask on an airplane.
You were right.
I was right. Wearing a mask on an airplane from the time you get on the plane until the time you get off the plane, and you're all the way to get your bags. It just, and the vents, the air that blows down from above you on where I was sitting, there wasn't much ventilation. I guess maybe that's also a part of the plan. I don't know. That got a little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
So every once in a while I'd go, put my head down and take the mask off and breathe.
Yeah. Craig, I found a lot of strange ironies in this. Like you just mentioned, here's the one Super Bowl that's less hectic and that's right up your alley. It's also the Super Bowl that's in a city that's known for pretty much one thing when it comes to late night entertainment, and guy that we used to work with isn't here.
Yeah.
In one place. Oh, he would just love it.
Oh yeah, I know. I can imagine. Yeah.
I mean, you can.
Oh, we would never see him.
Yeah. I remember a joke from the Daily Show when I guess it was the Republican or the Democratic convention was here a few years ago. A couple election cycles ago, and the Daily Show had, of course, like, I'm here from Tampa's famous strip club district, known to locals as Tampa.
And what's crazy is that where we're staying in this Airbnb, which is a 3-bedroom, we don't even need as much space as we have, but it was about the price you're going to get whether you're in a hotel or not. You were 8 minutes from Raymond James Stadium. 8 minutes from the stadium. We're on the west side of the airport, west side of Raymond James Stadium. We actually drove by it on the way to get on whatever it was, Paul, 275 to get towards downtown. It was honestly like we could spit at it. It was that close from where we're staying compared to where the stadium is, and also where we are, and the access has been amazing. Hey, I want to, you guys, Craig, you were able to watch the full game. Paul watched part of it on the flight. I didn't get to see much of it.
And the tram and
we got off the plane. Paul tells me, and because Texas had taken the lead, and then we get to our bags, and he was like, it's 61-51 Baylor. They play TCU at home Saturday. You cannot overlook anything.
No.
TCU on Saturday. They then start a 4-game stretch. Actually, it's a 5-game stretch. At Oklahoma, home against Texas Tech a week from Saturday, Monday at West Virginia, turnaround Thursday, home against West Virginia, and then they play at home against Oklahoma State. And they are, again, it's still too early to mention how close they are to wrapping this thing up, because you could lose 3 in a row in a heartbeat. But that's what they have coming up. They have to take care of their business with TCU, and they just keep chopping wood. And who knows, it could be the first ever Southwest Big 12 championship for Baylor men's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, there's that one game at a time mentality that they have, and I think that's super important right now. There's at least, I'd say, 3 games, if you count the non-ranked teams, that should be wins. And, fortunately for Baylor, you're looking at TCU on Saturday. Well, that's a home game. So that seems like a game that you should be able to win. Obviously, Oklahoma State later in the month, that's a home game. Iowa State later in the month, that's a home game. So those are the teams that are not ranked in the Big 12 right now, but all the other games, those are ranked opponents. I mean, you're going to be at Oklahoma, and they've been red hot. Texas Tech's going to be dangerous. They're going to be looking for revenge after getting beat in Lubbock. And those back-to-backs against West Virginia, those will be really intriguing. I mean, facing a team and turning around and facing them again, and just in a different location. And that first one's in Morgantown. So, I think West Virginia struggled to a win last night. Didn't look that good, but they're going to be fired up and could be problematic. And yeah, I mean, obviously you close out the season with Kansas as well, and so getting too far ahead of myself, but the schedule sets up nicely in some ways, but it's also really dangerous in some ways, especially, going from the trip to OU to Tech to back-to-back West Virginia. I mean, that's going to be, a big 4-game stretch. So, yes, that makes this Saturday's game all that more important. You got to beat TCU on Saturday. You should beat TCU on Saturday at home, and I have confidence that they will, but I mean, as confident as we are in this team, keeping that mentality, if they do that of just one game at a time, one win at a time, I think they'll be okay. And they don't seem to be the type that will let too much get to their head and kind of veer away from that. I don't think the coaches allow them to do that. I don't think their fellow teammates will allow them to do that. They have the right mentality right now, and they are working together so beautifully. It's just beautiful basketball. Offensively, defensively, at times, just wherever you look, you're watching really great team basketball, and it's amazing. It's amazing, and I hope people are enjoying the ride, because I sure am.
3 games up on Texas and West Virginia. Actually, they're really 3.5 up, because they have 9 wins, and those 2 teams are 5-3. 4 up on Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State. And those teams have to play each other as well. It's not that they just need to make sure they don't lose more than 2. They don't want to lose a game. But some of those teams are going to still beat each other up, and that's kind of what happened while Baylor keeps winning and then winning the key games against the teams right behind them, and they're about to play a bunch of them. In fact, almost every one of those teams, if you count last night's win against Texas, Texas. What was the most impressive part of the win last night about the game, the way they handled it? Well, what kind of popped out to you?
To me, it's the fact that they blew a big lead, which they've not really done.
Right.
They've not really done, and then it didn't matter to them. Because sometimes teams can be on a streak, you're kind of on a streak, and I think this is maybe the case with them a little bit last year. They couldn't believe it. Like they were like, oh man, this is great. How are we doing this? Even though they knew how they were doing it, it's just one of those things like, don't change your socks kind of a thing. You're going to ruin all this. I don't think this team has any of that. So like when they went down, if that team last year blew an 11-point lead, they were going to lose that game. I mean, even as good as they were, they're probably going to lose that game if they blew an 11-point lead just because they weren't there yet emotionally. This team was not bothered by it at all. As a matter of fact, it made them hit the gas even harder. And, they were up at some points to where you thought, like, my God, like, this is the number 6 team in the country. They're playing is not even in this game anymore.
No, in fact, one of the things, and by the way, and Scott Drew mentioned this. We ought to replay that if we have time. I don't think we will today because we have King McClure at 5 and Matt Saman at 5:30. We might do that at the end of the day on, I don't know, maybe Friday. I'm not sure. He did remind us they were 13-0 last year in the conference and did not win the conference. 13-0. Of course, Kansas went on that great run that they had. Craig, what was it? Kind of explain to me the kind of standover. May have been Jonathan Chamwachachua. What happened there, and was that when everything kind of seemed to go back in Baylor's favor?
Well, yeah, you asked the question, what was the most impressive thing you saw last night, and that was the Greg Brown dunk, and subsequently all the momentum that was lost from it because he just needed to showboat, and I know Texas fans took issue with it, but if the shoe was on the other foot, they would be feeling the exact opposite. So it's just one of those things that if you root for the team, it's a bad call at the time. If you don't, then it's actually the right call. I mean, he did, mock or stare after what was a thunderous dunk. I mean, it was a great play, and it should have been something that, really fired up Texas and further propelled them. But instead, because of that foul that came right afterwards, that's when, everything kind of started to fall apart for them in some ways. And I don't know if it really motivated Baylor or if it's just they kept their cool and Texas got unnerved a little bit. I'm not quite sure, but it certainly was a turning point in the game, which is very strange because not often when a guy makes a play like that and it actually turns into the other team's favor, but that's exactly what happened. I was just impressed with their patience. They're cool. They're calm. They were collected, and they never, even when the game was tight or Texas took the lead or whatever, you never felt any sense of like, oh my gosh, from this team in any way, shape, or form. They just kept their heads down and kept playing, and eventually they were just too much for Texas. Texas early on, those bigs were giving Baylor some problems, but eventually it's like you saw that Fran Fraschilla post. Baylor found ways to pass the ball around and, take advantage of when Texas would send their bigs out to the three-point line or the perimeter. And, I was just impressed in so many different ways. I mean, being on the road, Texas had the extra fans there. I'm sure that played a little bit. They had that artificial crowd noise too. But this team's just so calm and cool and such a team. It's everybody all for one, and that comes from Scott Drew and the coaching staff. But that Greg Brown dunk turned Tech was a big turning point in the game from what I could tell.
Okay, when we come back, we'll hear more of it because King McClure is going to break it down with us, ESPN broadcaster, former Baylor guard. And then I still think it's so Scott Drew, and not that other coaches don't do this, they're coming off a win against the place that haunted him. And now he's dominated Texas when it comes to men's basketball. Baylor in general, with almost all of their sports, has had the upper hand. Now football not as much of late. But in all the other sports, and what they've done with Baylor men's basketball, because Rick Barnes not only owned Baylor, they would beat the hell out of Baylor. And for him to text Matt Saman after the game, who was a part of that, no scholarships, no non-conference games, he wrote the book about it. He'll join us at 5:30 on Scott Drew and what that text meant to him. We'll come back as well with a couple of pool reports from what's happening with Kansas City and also with the Buccaneers as they get ready for the game on Sunday. This is SicEm365 Radio, live from Tampa, Florida, Waco, Texas, and throughout the country. And we're back in one moment.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Start the new year with a new Ram truck from Allen Samuels. Ram's impressive towing capability, heavy-duty payload capacity, and smooth ride have earned Ram the Motor Trend Truck of the Year yet again. That's 3 years in a row. Check out the new 2021 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with up to $7,250 in total value. Or take advantage of 0% for 60 or 2.9% for 72 and get $3,000 in rebates. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. Shop now at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Held the Rams to 2 for 8. Brady floats it. He's got Evans. What a throw.
The presenting sponsor of Super Bowl 55 coverage from Tampa, Florida on SicEm365 Radio is Marco's Pizza. Pizza for pizza lovers with locations in Woodway, China Spring, and Belmead.
Mahomes in trouble, able to unload it, and gets the completion at the 49 to Kelsey again.
Also brought to you by IdealMRI.com, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Waco Custom Marketplace, Boozer's Jewelers, Stonewood Dental, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac.
Lobs it up in the air to Kelsey. No one near him.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Petty Clinic Low T, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, and Impact Health Labs. Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
By the way, Marco's Pizza, Get craveable pizza made the Italian way, dough made from scratch, original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, premium toppings you love served hot and safe. Right now, you get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for $6.99 each. That's crazy good. And so is the pizza. Why stop at just one? Order with the app at Marcos.com for curbside carryout or delivery today. Marcos. Pizza lovers, get it. We're now joined by King McClure. He gets it. He played Baylor basketball. He does, of course, broadcast for ESPN, and he knows what Baylor's done. 17-0, winning in Austin by 13. King McClure, how do you describe what they're doing?
Unbelievable. I mean, you saw the game last night. Texas was a team who a lot of people think are second in the Big 12, and Baylor goes to Austin, and really, I mean, it's kind of a close game, but not really a close game. I mean, I had a game last night, so I was doing my game, but I had my game, the Baylor game, right next to it, and it was impressive. I mean, they pretty much dominated the whole game in a sense, and it's unbelievable what they're doing right now.
King, when they fell behind, which is something they haven't done that much, and then kicked in the gas, is that the experience of this team? Because I feel like there's maybe that team last year doesn't kick in the gas and they think like, oh man, what did we do? And we kind of lost our hot streak.
Yeah, I mean, this team is very experienced and they're confident, and that's why you see that. I mean, when they get behind, there was even a point in the Texas Tech game where they got behind and they just didn't panic. I mean, they just knew from the time they got behind to then that they were going to win the game, and that's what they did. So this team is very experienced, and because of that, that gives them the confidence to know that when you're behind, it doesn't really matter, and the game's not over until the buzzer sounds.
King, with Scott Drew and this coaching staff, what is it about them that they're able to keep these guys focused on one game at a time and not look at, the fact that, hey, we're unbeaten in conference, we're undefeated, we're this or we're that? How do those coaches keep the players, locked in on what's next, and that being the very next game and that alone?
I think it's just stressing it every single day. I mean, yeah, it's cool to be 17-0. Yeah, it's cool to make history, but we wouldn't make history if we would have dropped one of these games. So every game matters. Every game is just as important. When you just beat Texas and your next game is against TCU on Saturday, I mean, that game is just as important as this Texas game because Coach Drew is huge on wanting to do something that's never been done at Baylor, and that's win a Big 12 championship and go on and win a national championship. I think it's just the constant stress and the constant reminders every single day that it's one game at a time, and you got to take every game just as serious.
We had an analyst on, and I had made this comment, and believe me, King, I'm petrified of snakes, but I know what a boa constrictor or a python can do. They can grab you, clench you, smother you, and eventually just eat you. Does Baylor, when they get in these runs of 5 to 8 to 10 minutes where they just dominate, do they remind you of something like that? Like what they did when they fell behind, next thing you know, they're up by 10?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'm terrified of the snakes too. I don't want any part of that. It's one of my biggest fears in life. But secondly, I really do think that they're just like that, though. I mean, when you watch the Illinois game, I know it was a while back, and if you listen to the press conferences afterwards, they were like, I forgot which player it was, he said that we had to play Baylor for 40 minutes. And I know that sounds like, okay, well, obviously the game's 40 minutes, but no, that means you have to bring maximum exertion. You have to bring your full, basically everything you have for the whole 40 minutes. And that's what Baylor does. If you play 36 minutes, that's good. But then the last 4 minutes, they're going to weigh you down eventually. But they can play a whole 40-minute game. And I think that's why it's very hard to compete with these guys.
King McClure with us on SicEm365 Radio. We're in Tampa. Craig's in Waco. King, of course, from Zoom as well with us on SicEm365 Radio.
King, what was the deepest team you think you guys had at Baylor? Do you feel like you ever went 8 deep like these guys do?
Yeah, I think my sophomore year, we were number 1 in the country first time. I think that team was incredibly deep. Arguably, we might have given this team a run for their money. Arguably, I think so.
What would have been the fact that this team just has one more scorer than you guys had would be the difference?
Well, I mean, when you really look at it, when you look at the starting five, it was Manu. I had started towards the end, but Al Freeman was me and Al Freeman had kind of rotated. So Manu, myself, Ish, Mott, and Joe. Then coming off the bench was Al Freeman, Jake Lindsey, TJ Maston, Wendell Mitchell, and we had Tyson Jolly coming off the bench that year too. Honestly, if you look at it, Tyson Jolly started at SMU. Chuck started at A&M. I mean, we would arguably 10 deep. I mean, we had a squad. I think they're completely different though. Like this year's team and that team is two completely different styles of play.
King, who would you say is the most improved player on this team this year?
I would go with it has to be the Matt Meyer, Davion Mitchell. I'm probably gonna go with Davion Mitchell. Mm-hmm. His ability to shoot the three now, his ability to be a scorer. I mean, we saw it in one-on-ones. Like I was telling somebody earlier, I think it was Alfonso Ellis. I was talking to him, and we were talking about me and Davion and Mario. We used to go to the gym at like midnight, 1 in the morning, and play one-on-one, and just get up shots and play one-on-one. And Davion, when he was making shots, like we saw it, like he looked confident, and we saw that he can make shots. Last year, it just didn't translate. But this year, it's finally, translating because that guy is in the gym at least 5-6 hours a day, not including practice, just by himself, just wanting to get better. And he's putting in the work, and because of that, you see the results of it, and you see him shooting 49 from the three. That's all hard work, right?
Yeah, his shooting ability now and how much time he's spent doing it, that doesn't mean that when you practice it that you're going to get better at it. Sometimes either you can or you can't, but he's become as much a threat offensively as anybody, and he was always known as the guy who could just clamp down on defense. If you're trying to cover or defend, and Craig brought this up earlier I think it was even with Scott Drew and also us talking, is that Texas sent their bigs out at the guards to kind of just change things up. But the ball movement, the unselfish passing, eventually they find a guy open anyway. How much is Davion's explosiveness made it almost impossible to cover that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, with the game plan, the little bit I saw, Texas switched everything. And when they switched everything, I mean, their bigs had to come guard our guards. And our guards are elite. No big in America can guard our guards, can stay in front. So as a result of that, you have to basically have more help on the floor. And because of the help, when the help comes, then our guards are good enough to be able to either score or locate the open man. And that's where Texas kind of messed up, I think, in their game plan, because our guards are too good, and they learned that the hard way. Like the guards that we have are elite level guards. Davion Mitchell is so explosive, but his ability to shoot makes him 10 times harder to guard because a lot of guys backed off. Now you have to press up, but he's so fast that you don't want to get blown by. So now you have to kind of play him in the middle a little bit and just pick and choose, honestly. You got to pick your poison. And Jared Butler, I mean, we know what Jared Butler does. But we can't forget about Maceo and Adam Flagler. Like, those two dudes are still elite, too. So our guards are just hard to guard. And Texas learned that the hard way. You can't switch on our guards because they'll kill you on the perimeter if you bring a big out there.
King, as you look down the road, now that they got to play Texas again, we know, but is there a team that's playing right now that would scare you the most about at least giving them a loss?
I mean, I think the two teams that I think could give us problems is Texas Tech and West Virginia. I think West Virginia just being so tough and just being a Bob Huggins team, they're going to come with a game plan and they're going to just bring toughness to the gym. And I think last year we kind of struggled with West Virginia when we went down there at their place. So that could be one. And Deuce McBride is one hell of a guard too. He's really talented. Texas Tech too. I think Texas Tech's ability to play defense and switch with their 4 perimeter players, I think that'll be kind of a challenge too when they come to Baylor.
They're the number 2 team in the country right now. Gonzaga has been holding on to number 1 for a while now. I feel like after last night, you can make a great case for Baylor being number 1. Do you think that's something that matters to them at all as players and coaches?
And ultimately, you want to be number 1, so I guess it kind of does matter a little bit, but it's just win each ball game. I mean, Gonzaga's going to probably go undefeated in that conference. But like you said, I mean, they keep beating ranked teams. Gonzaga's playing against Pepperdine and whoever else they're playing against. No offense, but it's a major difference. But that matchup right there would be crazy. I don't think Gonzaga can guard us. But that matchup would be crazy.
We have to see it, right? We have to see this game. I mean, like, if we don't get to see this Baylor-Gonzaga game, that's just, I mean, it's just, it'd be wrong.
Yeah, it's doing the world a disservice if we don't see it.
Yeah, King better watch it, though. I mean, like, he can dog Pepperdine a little bit, but he's going to need ESPN to send him out there one day to do a game at Pepperdine.
Hey, I'd love to go out there.
Yeah, if we did like a campus bracket, they're in the final. They're in the final. Well, Pepperdine is going to be in the final. So right now, with the win against Texas, the difference was if you win, you're up 3 on Texas and West Virginia. If you lose, you're only a game up, I guess, on Texas, because they would have 2 losses and Baylor would have 1, and there's a long way to go. But they now have a 3-game lead on both West Virginia and Texas and 4 up on everybody else and better. How do you keep – they want to do things, and Scott Drew mentions that. How do you keep, no matter what is said to you, staying focused and not getting complacent?
I think it's Coach Drew, kind of like we talked about earlier, just when Coach Drew said, one game at a time. I think that's the thing right there. Like, ultimately, you're winning ball games, but I think the difference between this team and, like, other teams is that this team is just hungry. I mean, you can tell every time they step on the court. Like, no matter who they're playing, they take it to them. Like, they play Kansas State at home. Normally, that's a game where you're just like, whatever, bro. We know we're better than them. We're going to beat them, whatever. No, they beat them dudes by, like, 50, and like, it wasn't even close. It was bad, you know, and it's every single game. Like, they don't take breaks. This team is hungry, and just me personally knowing these guys, I don't think they'll ever get to a place where they're complacent, because I think last year they felt like they could have won a championship, and due to the circumstances, due to COVID, they didn't have that opportunity. So I think this year they want nothing more than a championship, and these guys are hungry, and they're not going to stop till they get one.
There's no concern about the fact, even with all that being said, you have TCU. They have to win that game. That's one that you drop that, you could lose 4 in a row because of who else is coming next. But there's no concern whatsoever. This team seems to, no matter who's next, they take it on. Is that hard to do, King, going 1 game at a time?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can get a little frustrating because, you know, you kind of want to, you kind of get up more for the Texases or the West Virginias. And you play TCU and you're just like, I mean, they're good, but they're not like ranked. They're not top 25. You get up more for those matchups. It's me being a player. I mean, that's what I did. But then ultimately, I think these guys know what the mission is and they're trying to complete it. So I think it really doesn't matter who they play. I think they're super focused. Just 1 game at a time.
Thank you very much. Craig, anything else for King?
No, I'm good.
King McClure, man, it's great to see you. Man, how about that? King's broadcasted on Zoom. Craig's in the studio in Waco, and we're in Tampa.
Yeah, we're technically on Skype to give them some
Is that
props.
where we are?
Yes,
okay.
Skype.
King, who do you have? The Chiefs or the Buccaneers this Sunday?
Ooh, so I would go with Patrick Mahomes, but I just feel like I can't go against Tom Brady. Like, that's greatness. It's like 6 rings right now.
Yeah.
Going for a 7th, that's greatness. I think you just can't fight. You can't like bet against greatness.
Yeah, we said that earlier to Coach, to Drew Scott, and he was like, well, it's not crazy to pick Tom Brady, but
all right. Hold on, before let's go. We had Coach on. I had this idea, and King will cut you in for it a little bit too. There needs to be an app that when you're feeling down in the morning, that you just hit the Scott Drew app, and like it'll just pop up, and you watch a couple little quick could be 30 to 60 second messages from Coach Drew, and then
what does that say about your head coach?
I mean, it just says he cares. I mean, he sent me that text too.
There you go.
He sent me that text and told me, you can't help build this. Put me and my pops in the group chat. But it just means he cares. I mean, it's more like it's like a family atmosphere. So like everybody's welcome back, and he cares about every single person who's been through this program. And Coach Drew, that's just the type of man he is. I mean, anything I need, I know for a fact Scott Drew will pick up the phone. If you don't right then, it'll be within the next hour or 2, and he'll call me back and help me in any way he can. I mean, it's ESPN job. I wouldn't get it without Coach Drew. So I know for a fact that man right there has my back, and he's an amazing dude, for real.
Thank you, King. Appreciate your time. Always, every week is so much fun. Thanks for coming on a little bit later than normal with us. King McClure of ESPN. Tune
in Saturday. I will be on the Baylor TCU game.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
And Saturday.
There you go. And who were you doing last night? What game did you have last night?
West Virginia, Iowa State.
That was a little more competitive than I thought, huh?
Oh, yeah, I was so happy. I'm looking forward to a blowout.
Yeah, 94-64, something like that. You had a pretty competitive game. Glad you're doing games again. We'll see you Saturday. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
King McClure's doing the game Saturday, Baylor and TCU on ESPN. Thanks for his time. We appreciate him. Coming up, a couple of other notes. Eventually, Matt Saman, he's at my Grapevine Faith Christian School. He was a part of the start of the Scott Drew era. And then here you go. Then he gets a text. King gets a text. You know, everyone got one. He's got like this group text, like 90 of them going at once with former players. And Jerome Tang sent me last night when we landed, Paul, and then we got to our house. I just said, man, strong. He said, we are so strong. We never got rattled when you could normally, could get rattled. We didn't get rattled. Just bounced back.
I've seen really elite Baylor teams. I mean, teams that have studs and leaders and all that stuff in that same situation, just, not get back to where they were. They got back to where they were and surpassed it. I mean, they were, so they weren't even at 100% emotion. They were winning the game up 7-11 at times, probably at about 90%. And then when they went down, that's when they hit 100.
Yeah. They have this ability to kick it in. That's the experience that they have. By the way, Brian Etheridge just put up a picture on his Twitter page about it's got where we are and where we are on what are we on, Paul?
We're on Skype.
On Skype.
Yeah.
And then Craig in the studio as well. And what Armstrong Sims is doing, he will be taking sedatives.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
He's not like I think he liked us a lot until about 3 hours ago.
Okay, Armstrong, I know he has a headset on.
I do.
Is anyone else with you today?
Jack just came in at like 4:30. So
so today would have been a day.
He came in after everything happened. I mean, this is what this is. I don't have words for what this day has been for me.
Well, no, go ahead and describe them for us, because I first of all, we're going to bring you back something like maybe, I don't know what will bring you back, because, I mean, it's not like we can bring you back a restaurant certificate. We'll do something for you. So try to explain to everybody. First of all, you were flying solo.
Jerry left. He can't explain it.
He is controlling the mothership on 101L. Craig is in studio. We're in Tampa. We've had Schlereth in Denver, King in Dallas, right?
Uh-huh.
Others elsewhere, plus the phone and Zoom and Skype and all that. Have you, and Brian Etheridge just sent me a text. It's incredible. So explain why he thinks it's incredible and you're about to maybe go jump off a cliff.
I mean, it's like, usually we all split jobs, me and Paul. Paul calls the guests, and I have interns doing audio, and I have all this. And today, it was 100% me, like absolutely zero downtime, constantly calling guests, no break. Like when we had a break there for about 2 minutes, like 20 minutes ago, it was the first chance I had to go to the bathroom in like 3 hours. And I'm running an audio board, the breaks, calling the guests to get them on, managing y'all's Skype, jumping back and forth from Skype to Zoom, graphics, building the graphics for our guests, trying to get their pictures and names up, recording their audio, posting their audios after they get done with the interview, posting that to podcasts, tweeting that link out, and then taking the video and putting that on the website. So, yeah.
But that's all. I mean, that's
just
it.
That's it.
Well, you know what, Armstrong?
Now that you've proven you can do this.
That's it.
Oh, yeah. Now Jackson, thankfully Jack has come and lightened the load a little
Jack
bit.
is
but
lightening the load now.
But now, unfortunately, Armstrong has proven he can do it by himself.
Oh, my gosh.
Have you ever seen, what that reminded me of? And I said this, have you ever seen My Cousin Vinny?
Yeah.
So you remember when she comes there at the cabin and she's like, my biological clock is ticking, and he starts listening. He's like, is there anything else? Is there anything else you want to pile? Like, that's how Armstrong.
Yes. Listen.
That is.
I want you to know, I've done this now for 39 years. I've been to Super Bowls every year but once since '92. What you've done in the last 2.5 hours is ungodly. It's phenomenal. And Craig, of course, has been able to kind of witness part of it.
Craig, you know what Craig's
I wanted to
watching
bring
right now?
but I wanted to make sure everyone understood this is a special young man in Armstrong.
Yeah, Craig's watching right now. He's watching like a perfect game.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing.
There we go.
You just jinxed it, but
we are about to screw that up.
Yeah, that's it. So,
all right. So I just wanted to make sure we told everybody, because it is the feedback we're getting from a lot of, and it's like I said in a tweet before we started the show. It's been a unique year for us since we started the first show on April the 6th, and Paul's basically upstairs of his house. It's been unique. Everything about the last 9 or 8 to 10 months has been unique. And I was like, why are you going to the Super Bowl? Why not? And here we are, and it has been unique. It has been a challenge, and yet we've been able to bring you sometimes the guests we would have, but even a few more, and we got more coming tomorrow and Friday.
I honestly was nervous until we got to the airport. Like, we got to the airport, and the airport was very socially distanced. And then we got here, and, it would take me a second to get, like, if I wanted to not, like, go and tackle somebody, they would see me coming. It's not like
no, plus we're on later than almost anyone else. There's the great Dave Stevens, by the way, who did a lot of work for ESPN back in the day. But, we're towards the end of it. A lot of people who have been here have been the morning shows. But Brian Etheridge, Cole Barber, and Ashley Hodge, they all said do it. Our sponsors, Marco's Pizza, presenting sponsor, but all of the others that we hear and have heard now, the core of 13 that we started with, among so many others, almost triple that number at times, who have sponsored the show. Without them, we're not here. It's unbelievable. Craig's done what Paul's done, what I'm trying to do, and what Armstrong has done, and now Jack McKenzie. It's great. We'll have more tomorrow. We'll come back with Matt Saman's great story, Sic'em365 Radio.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
All right, we continue. We have been all over the country, not only just us, but also some of our guests from New York to Denver to elsewhere. And now we go up to Grapevine Faith Christian High School basketball coach Matt Saman. He played for Scott Drew back at the beginning of the Scott Drew era. And I saw what Matt tweeted last night, and it caught my attention. Basically, that he got a text from Coach Drew after the win against Texas about making sure he reminded him of what he was a part of when Baylor built what they are now, when there was basically no ground or no gravel or no concrete or no wood, nothing. And Matt Saman was a part of it. He wrote a book about it. He joins us now on SicEm365 Radio. Matt, thanks for your time. Before we get to the text from Scott Drew, what are you watching right now when you watch Baylor men's basketball?
Oh, man, I'm watching a group of guys that, one, are super skilled individually, but what's most impressive is how they play together. Offensively, it's a joy to watch, and then defensively, the way that they can switch and guard all 5 spots. Like when they switch, they don't lose anything, and that gives them the ability to be very aggressive. I just think they're so much fun to watch on both ends of the floor.
All right, so I asked Coach Drew this knowing that we would have you on, and he is of course the poster child for humility. But I asked him about, does he ever think about what kind of a coach he's become over the last 15, 16 years or so? And he talked about every other coach and every other player, of course. But you were there at the beginning of Scott Drew in this journey. And what kind of a coach is he now compared to what he was then?
I would have to say he's probably the same, just has way better talent. And so, I remember him being like their idea of joy and their culture of joy. It was there back in the day. It was just hard for us that were remaining there to kind of grasp onto it at the beginning, but they were bringing that energy and spirit and joy that you see on the sidelines, even back then with us. And Coach Drew had great set plays, out of bounds plays that really were creative. And I remember liking them so much. The problem is we didn't have the talent that he has now executing those plays to where, man, I mean, his players make them look really good, but he has been that way since the beginning. I mean, he made us competitive when we shouldn't have been. So I think it shows what he can do with talent now.
What do you make also of, like, you can have talent, but sometimes talent doesn't fit together. There's egos, there's things like that. These guys genuinely seem to love each other. And, that's not just saying it, because people say that about things all the time. I mean, these guys really do love each other. It is a team as much as a team can be. How hard is that to create that kind of an atmosphere that Scott Drew has created where there is not a lot of selfishness or egos?
You're right. Like, how do you get it's the difference between a sign being just on the wall in your locker room that looks nice and catchy, but dudes actually living it out every day. I think joy is a choice. Like you have to choose it day in, day out, not just when things are going well or with, and definitely you got to choose them when things are bad. I think him and his staff and Coach Tang, they have a of getting players to buy in and believe that if we all choose joy, if we all believe in each other and kind of give up any selfishness that's there, man, together we can accomplish a lot more. And all those things are kind of cliches and everything, but man, when they become real, it's super fun to watch. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Matt, Scott Drew's had dozens upon dozens upon dozens of players who played with him, played for him, since the first year. Some that are at a high level of the NBA, some that are playing in Europe, and some like you who are a part of the absolute foundation when there was just basically nothing. And now you're a coach at Grapevine Faith Christian. He was able to get in touch with people last night after the game. You got a text from him. I saw your tweet. What did that mean to you?
Oh, it makes every day that we had practice and every day really makes it worth it. I mean, I've had so many moments like that over the last, 18 years or so, from being there or whatever it is. I've had so many moments like that. But for him to reach out, what it did was validate to me how important what these players are doing, how important it was what I did in my seniors and that team. And the whole idea behind that tweet was really for my players. Like I've been telling them that over the years, that what you do now matters, and you're laying something, you're building a legacy that will last. Well, when he sends me that text, it just validates to me like what I did mattered back then, and I'm a part of something way bigger than myself. And to answer from before, how does he get guys to buy in? They believe that they're part of something way bigger than just themselves.
Did you think at any point in this first couple years that, less than 20 years, I mean, and it's been, but less than, because where you were, it was that you would be watching division in Austin, the number 2 team undefeated, and not really having that much trouble with the number 6 team in the country?
Man, I got teary just a few years after I graduated, watching Selection Sunday, us get picked for March Madness. I got teary then. And I remember thinking that year, like, how in the world are they doing this already? You're asked when I thought that we'd be at the level we are now. At the time, probably not. Probably not. But man, when you dream like that, like I think they've been able to make dreams really become realities. And what a dream season they're having, and it's humbling to have played a really small part in it, and thankful for Coach Drew for remembering us old guys.
How great is this coaching staff around him as well, Matt? I mean, it's a special guy. There's a lot of head coaches, future head coaches, I think, on this roster for sure. But you mentioned Jerome Tang there, Alvin Brooks. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, what a special group, right?
Yeah, I think that's important. What Coach Drew does is he brings in quality, high character guys so that the message that he's sending out doesn't just end with him. It's carried on all the way down the chain. I think Coach Tang definitely showed, I mean, we've always known his value and what he brings and how special he is, but all of the circumstances that every program has gone through, he enabled for Baylor to not skip a beat, when things happen to them. But yeah, what a special staff that Coach Drew, but all the guys, Coach Driscoll and all those guys that have come before that are a part of this process as well.
So I have another question for you. Matt Saman, former Baylor basketball player, now at Grapevine Faith Christian. You had a game last night, right?
We did have a game.
How did I know the number one focus is your team and you won big. How do you not pay attention to what maybe the score is with Baylor in Texas?
Okay, so can I be really honest with you guys for a second? I'm coaching in a game, and it was a district game for us, and it's all relative, right? Like the game my guys had last night against Southwest Christian was to us just as big as Baylor playing UT, so we're in the moment there. But the guy doing our announcements had his phone propped up on the scores table playing the game. Now, I never went and checked it, but he did right before the second half started. He did announce the score of our game because he's a Baylor fan. And when he announced it that we beat UT, I stood there and put my fists in the air, and multiple Baylor fans hollered and cheered because there is nothing better than beating UT.
Well, and Matt, when for a few years, I think one of the things that's impressive is that once Coach Drew and the staff have kind of slayed the dragon of the teams that they couldn't beat, whether it was Texas or for a while it was Tech. For God's sakes, it could not be Tech. And then and then Kansas. It seems like then the fear is just kind of gone, and they approach it just like everybody else instead of, oh my God, it's the big bad wolf.
Oh, you can't overlook how important the mental aspect is of the game. And, when for years you feel like you've been getting your head beat in by a team, and even though the players are different and the coach might even be different, it's hard to overcome that feeling of, I hate to say it, but a little bit of fear and doubt going into a place. But that's where it's relative experience. Sometimes you have to visualize you doing something, but then once you actually have physically done it and that experience is real, well, then it becomes that much easier to do it the next time. And I think that's what we're seeing.
I don't ask this question to be divisive at all because there's a lot of good choices. Do you have a favorite player or two that you enjoy watching maybe the most off of this team?
Well, I'm always partial to number 13s. So I love my number 13 there, even though he has a mullet right now. That's good. Everyday John is just hard not to love because he does a lot of things, and I can appreciate it. He does a lot of things that don't really show up on ESPN or the stat books. I mean, rebounding and blocks, yes, but the hustle plays. Matthew, I think, has come alive. I mean, I remember watching him as a freshman, thinking, his motor's just not very high right now. Is he willing to get uncomfortable enough? And so it's been fun to see him just kind of really fill in that sixth man role. But man, there's a bunch of favorites on this team.
As a coach, though, you've got to like guys like Everyday John, because you can point, you can say, like, look, Vital's the same way. Like, you can tell your guys, like, you're not going to put in 20 points every night. Like, that's not how basketball works. But you can do this, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, people say, tell kids all the time to be a star in their role. And I do agree with that. But you're constantly working on your own to make your role to be bigger than what it is right now. But it is nice to see those guys that are completely embracing it. And then what's unique about this team too is how they celebrate each other. Mm-hmm. Like when one guy does something, it's as if the whole team did it. And I do think, I mean, you watch a lot of college programs, there's a lot of guys stuck on cool. And they don't show that joy or that excitement for each other. This team, it's like every game is their championship. And I think when you have that mindset, golly, it allows you to do really special things.
All right, I have to ask you a question. You were honest with us about the game and the phone and all that. If Matthew Meyer was a player on your team, would you have to take some sort of drugs, like heartburn medicine, to I know he's talented, he would score 30 for you, but would you need just a little Prilosec or something?
Now, see, that's also it's about style and what you're comfortable with coaching. I'm about freedom, and so our goal is to shoot. See, our goal is to shoot in less than 8 seconds every possession.
Oh dear!
Oh,
so,
you love him.
When I see a guy that can create and make decisions quickly, and he appears to have no fear, I look at that as genius.
No, Matt, he does not appear to have no fear.
Oh my
That's not an appearance. That's not.
Do not let this get back to Matt.
Yeah.
No, Matthew Meyer cannot get this segment.
Yeah. I can, like, you can appear to not do a lot of things. He is that way. Like you remember his freshman year, he just started.
Yeah, I know. Oh, my
I don't
Lord.
appreciate clapping. I think the guards are good enough till they see you and they're going to give it to you, or they're not. Don't clap, don't woohoo me. But I love his creativity. But all of them, they all make plays instead of just running plays.
Yeah, no, you're right. Craig, anything else for Matt Saman?
No, I'm good, guys.
Thank you. Matt, thank you very much. Congratulations. Keep winning. Thanks for your time, man. Great.
Thanks for having me on. That was awesome.
I saw that text last night. We had gotten to the house. We went out and got a couple of things for the house, and we came back and we were listening to the post game, and then I saw Matt's tweet. And I said, man, that's a great deal. And King McClure saying he got one. So Quincy Acey, or just name somebody. They got him. That's what he did. He fired up the text line. When we come back today, National Signing Day, we went over that a lot. We had CJ from Parkview Christian Academy on. What did it mean nationally? How did the national rankings come out, and what did this year's number one ranked team, what does it mean in perspective of history of recruiting? And then also Paul's top 5. We're live in Tampa, Waco, and around the country, and this is SicEm365 Radio.
Fall in love with a new vehicle for less at Allen Samuels with incredible deals like a 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux with $6,750 in values, or a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for $4,250 in values. There's a reason why Jeep has so many accolades. So come see for yourself and save at AllenSamuels.com. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sausage, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
I have done this now for about 40 years. Super Bowl Radio Row every year since the Cowboys and Bills in L.A., and it was at the Century Plaza Hotel. And there have been days when I've come out of here, when the guests that we've been able to have from people who have helped, from the late Reggie Howell to Jeff Wood to among others, plus all of us in general. This is one of my favorite days ever because of what we've been able to pull off, and from different locations, as we mentioned earlier, because of all the technology with Craig and Armstrong, Jack, and everybody else. It's been just, I hope that you've enjoyed it, and we're not done. We got a couple of more things to get to, including this. Yusuf Terry, former Baylor wide receiver, remember, part of Matt Rule's signing class, then transferred in the middle of the year. It looked like he was kind of stuck. Today, he mentioned he signed with the University of South Florida right here in Tampa, and he'll be a Bull. So good for Yusuf Terry. He has signed with USF and will be playing college football in Tampa. As we got to remember, and again, it's hard to sometimes, it is National Signing Day. And Craig, in fact, speaking of which, you had a nugget about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we might have seen the greatest recruiting class in history signed today from folks who follow that sort of thing. Alabama, no surprise, has the number one class in the country for 2021. But the makeup of that 2021 class is what makes it perhaps the greatest in history. 7 5-stars were signed by Alabama overall, counting, obviously mid-December and then the signing day today. So 7 5-stars. They signed what I want to say is like 20% of the 5-stars that could be signed. So a fifth of all of those that could have, been a part of that. 16 of the top 100 players in the country have signed with Alabama. And it's a ridiculous feat that they pulled off once again. I mean, for every 5-star they don't have, and they've got 7 of them, they've got about 1 billion 4-stars, and then there's a handful maybe of 3-star guys. So just a ridiculous recruiting class for them. And that juggernaut does not appear to look like it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. But yeah, 15 to 16, depending on what tweet I'm looking at, of the top 100, 7 5-stars, and their 15 recruits inside the top 100 is more than Georgia, Florida, Auburn, and Tennessee combined. So, Jeez. I mean, just a slaughter of recruiting for Alabama, who finishes number 1 in the country, and that was to be expected, but still, just somehow they keep finding ways to do better and better. But just real quickly, Ohio State, number 2 class, Georgia, LSU, Clemson round out the top 5. A&M, the number 7 class in the country. Oklahoma, number 11. UT, 17. And I'll just leave it there rather than go through everybody in the Big 12. But those are kind of the highlights of the top 20.
Wow. Nick Saban, we didn't. I'm sure you guys saw that his recruiting pitch got out.
Yeah, I wondered, did they pull his scholarship?
From what I'm to believe is that, or that people said that Nick Saban wouldn't hold it against the player. Like he's been in this long enough to understand that the kid was being a kid and wasn't trying to expose him or anything like that. The other players that were kind of upset about it, that a kid would do that.
Oh, okay.
I went on a rant about it yesterday. I didn't, I think Grayson or Armstrong or somebody brought it up and hey, what'd you think? And I was like, I didn't like it. I mean, I don't need to see everything. You know what I mean? And we already know probably way too much about recruiting in some cases. I don't need to hear the actual pitches as well, because then what's next? What are we going to see? Dave Aranda's pitch from some random Baylor recruit, and then there's, here's Steve Sarkisian pitching me on. So yeah, I think just a dumb move by a kid looking for attention, but that's, I'm not going to be grumpy old man here, but attention seems to be what young people crave more than anything nowadays, and that was a prime example of it, but I didn't like it personally.
You cannot be a grumpy old man at your age. I'll be the one that. But I thought it was a little bit intrusive.
Yeah.
I thought that it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Nick Saban is having a private moment with this young man.
I had no problem with Nick Saban's pitch. I
didn't care about that. It just didn't need to be seen by everybody.
He wasn't doing it. Yeah. I just thought it was a little bit. There's so many things now. There's so much now that is put out there that was him talking to a young man about his program, and everything's out there, everything's out there. Okay. All right, so I kind of agree with Craig on that.
Yeah.
All right, Paul,
I agree. Yeah.
Your top 5 at 552.5.
Well, it's good because there's some discussion on this one. I want you guys roped in on this. So since we're talking about Super Bowl cities and all that, these are what I consider to be the top 5 Super Bowl host cities based on where we've been. Because there's some places obviously we haven't been. But number 5 to me was Phoenix. I think Phoenix was really cool. The only problem with Phoenix was they put us away from the media lounge that
I'm trying to even think
to go get a water or a Mountain Dew.
We were like underground in Phoenix. Like we were,
yes.
It had a little cafe, but it was like, that was the only place. There was like 45 people in line for little sandwiches that cost $15 all day long. Yeah, there was not very much great access or things around.
Yeah, but as far as like a host city and things to do, the media party was really cool. I mean, it was out at the golf course, where the Waste Management Open is, and so that was really
the Phoenix Open or whatever.
Yeah, so that was really cool. I thought that was great. And I left New York off the list, guys, even though we had a blast in New York. And I may be regretting it because I did put Atlanta in here because I thought Atlanta actually did a pretty good job of like media center and all the stuff that we did. The only problem with Atlanta was, and I think I put it in here just so I could tell the story comparatively, Craig, we walked out of the parking garage, we walked right to the accreditation center. When we were, and every tubes and all this stuff all over the place, and we could not find the door. You remember we walked all over like the Olympic Village trying to find this damn door. And finally... Yeah.
No, it was kind of a mess, and you were walking all over a park, and they're like all of a sudden there's the Olympic Monument where the bombing happened back in '96, and it was just like a big field, and it was kind of cool to see like the Ted Turner House and kind of things like that. But it was a bit spread out.
But dragging all our stuff with us was very much a pain. Yeah. And we actually stopped and we had to, because we sent all of us in different directions to try to find the door, and then we finally
it turned out Atlanta was weird. It was just strange.
I should probably put New York in. Questlove played the media party, for God's sakes. It was great.
Who?
Questlove, for the Tonight Show.
I don't
Questlove from the Roots. Craig knows Questlove.
Yeah.
We had John Legend at a Cotton Bowl. Wasn't that the one with Michigan State and Baylor?
John Legend did an album with them.
Yeah.
Actually,
okay.
It's a very good one, as a matter of fact. All right, number 3, Indianapolis was. We had fun in Indianapolis, Smokey. That was, and it was really easy to get around.
It was very, very well designed on how to get. Never outside, not because of the weather. It's just the way that they have their system, the way it is.
Now, it was great, and it was easy to get around. And like every time you wanted, if you had a question about where do I go to do this in Indianapolis, all you had to do was walk 45 yards in any direction, and there was somebody be like, you know what, I really like this place, and yada yada yada. Which I will compare it to Salt Lake City, where I went to cover an NCAA tournament, where everyone was super friendly, but you asked them a question, like you asked somebody in Salt Lake City, hey, where's a good sports bar? And they're like, we don't do that in Salt Lake City. Yeah. It's not a thing that's done.
Didn't think about that.
Oh, okay, great, thanks. I'm gonna there's a big basketball tournament in town. We'd like to watch some of the other games all at the same time and not be in the hotel room. I don't know where to go with that. Number 2, I'm gonna say this, and this is COVID notwithstanding. This is and this is biased because but this is outside of here is a beautiful setup. I mean, we're right in the water. There's stuff around here. Downtown Tampa is kind of like downtown Dallas, where if you take one wrong turn, you've got to, go down 20 streets and then back around. But,
right.
But as far as like a place to do it and things that are easy to get to, I think Tampa's a great host city. And Smokey, you've been here before.
Yeah, and it's been, it's been different because the rotation of what was Florida, Arizona, California. That seemed to always be it. And, of course, it got out of whack because San Diego got popped. They're no longer. San Francisco couldn't 1 year. L.A. was done after a while.
And I thought the San Francisco one was just a gigantic thing.
Yeah, that was hard. That was hard. And then, of course, Arizona was always a safe place because of the weather and the location. And then you started having Minneapolis and Jacksonville and Indianapolis and New York.
Well, look,
Tampa does a good job.
And San Francisco, part of the problem, like we got to, we stayed in a hotel downtown, but media hotel that was a very long shuttle ride away.
Where was that at?
In San Francisco.
Oh yeah,
it was a long time.
No,
that was the same problem with Phoenix. Is like you would think with everything they had, you'd stay closer. And finally, number one, guys. I mean, there's no question. The best place to host a Super Bowl is New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yeah, it's not even close.
It's not even a competition. Sugar Bowl, Final Four. Women's tournament was supposed to be there last year. Is that right? Compares to New Orleans. And the reason is for this is that there's everything you could ever want to, and everything seems to be pretty much within walking distance.
Yeah, it's walking distance. Plus, the city is built on hospitality. Like that's their number one industry.
Yeah.
So like hosting things is not like they're used to it. Sometimes you go to a place like, for example, I don't know why it was like this way in Miami, a city that's also supposed to be built on hospitality, but they couldn't have given an S less that we were there last year.
No.
There was, oh hey, we're gonna put 7 Danishes out for 7,000 media people in the morning. Like, what are you doing? Like, either don't put it out there or do it up. It's not. You shouldn't.
Either just when we walk into the radio row, just have a big middle finger.
Yeah, and then there's nothing around there. There's nothing around there.
That was bad.
They ran out of bottled water, and then they just didn't have and then they're like, it wasn't cold, and it's Florida, man.
Yeah, New Orleans, it's almost like you have to say, I'm tired of jambalaya.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Can you
please? Can you bring
Zatarins? We love you.
We love
great.
you, but would you please? I gotta be able to. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think I got invited to the Zatarins ladies' wedding. I mean, that's how familiar they get with you. It's nuts. But yeah, those are the top 5 Super Bowl host cities. So when the world is back to normal again, if you ever get to go to one of these cities, I suggest doing it. No. I wouldn't mind seeing New York get back in the rotation, just because I thought they did a pretty good job with everything, considering. And New York is not and
I had a great seat for that one too.
Wow.
They did a great job with the overhang where we were, with these huge, major, big time heaters. Made it comfortable because you were worried about that. All right. By the way, tonight, Oklahoma State men's basketball playing TCU in Fort Worth. Oklahoma State, of course, still in the mix in what they're doing with Mike Boynton. They're waiting to hear from the NCAA whether their appeal goes through. Okay, Craig, thank you. It's great to see you. Great job. You and Grayson were fantastic yesterday. Thanks for your time. Tomorrow that we know of, Ross Tucker. Excuse me. I got a couple of more. I just went blank, but we'll have a loaded up lineup. DeMarcus Ware Friday, among some others as well. For Paul Catalina, Craig, thank you very much. Armstrong Sims, we can't hug you, kiss you, and hug you enough. Thank you. God bless you for whatever you are about to go do to yourself after the show. And Jack McKenzie, our great sponsors, everyone that's a part of SicEm365 Radio. We appreciate you, Marco's Pizza and Bob Mock. Good night from Tampa, Florida, and Waco, Texas. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes